And going live. And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Gravity live stream. Today, we have a fun topic. As always, I guess. I've probably said today we have a fun topic over a dozen times. So I think
when
I'm
is it
going to have
ever
to
not a
try
fun
and
topic?
find some other adjective that is more useful. But the topic is money, and I think that I don't know. Maybe fun isn't the right word for money. It depends on how you see it. Lots of people. The alternate title for this episode was going to be "The Root of All Evil" because that is a common catchphrase that people like to say. Money is the root of all evil. But from a more objective stance, I mean, it's just a tool, really. So we're going to get into that. But first, let's get into the disclaimer and the plugs. So, this video is not intended for children under 13 years old. If you are under 13 years old, please do not watch this video, as the topics we discuss are meant for those with at least a high school level of education. If you're not 13, you will not understand the scientific topics discussed in this video. So I realize I have forgotten a comma in this disclaimer between the word video and the word as. And this disclaimer has been there for quite a while. So let me just casually, as is used in like because. It's used as a synonym of because in this instance. You don't always need a comma before as, only when you're using it like the word because. And I only know that because I've been going through rounds of editing for my book recently. So, yeah, I just noticed that, and wow, I that's in so many videos. Oh my gosh. I don't even know what to say. Anyway, let's go to the next slide. So, visit the Gravity Max website at gravitymaxmedia.com. You can also follow us on social media. We have accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The links to everything are in the description below. On the website, we've got like stuff about my books, and we've got a little news tab that hasn't really been updated in a while. But I have some interesting articles there that aren't really time oriented, so they still work. You can still read them. They're sort of interesting. Because I wanted to write articles one week. I was like, hey, I should write some articles, and then I did. So you can check out that. I would say that's pretty interesting. So then we also have Sebastian on social media. He has Instagram, Twitter, and of course a YouTube channel, all with the name 128 Seconds. On YouTube,
they call me 128 seconds.
Yeah, 128 Seconds. Sebastian produces educational videos that are 2 minutes and 8 seconds long, 128 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And so that if you prefer a shorter format to get your edutainment instead of this live stream podcast format, you might like to check out Sebastian's channel. Links in the description, as well as our friend Brendan is here again. Yui Films, his channel is in the description below. So check out Yui Films. Yeah, check out Yui Films.
You'll love to see it.
How many times have you been? You've been on this live stream quite a bit. So I bet most of our viewers already know about you. So,
yeah.
So we've got Yui here to I don't know, to just talk, right?
Is he our most common guest?
I would say so.
That is who I could check.
How many times have you had Mike on?
If Brendan isn't the most common guest, then I would guess it would be Zach. But yeah, Brendan, the last time you were on was for the vexillology episode. So yeah. Anyway, let's go to a bottled up flame.
This is Brendan's 9th time on stream.
No.
Very popular.
Yeah.
No, there's no way.
Well, are you including the Rento episodes? Are you including the
I am including Rento.
So
okay, then I believe that. I believe that.
Yeah. So anyway, Bottled Up Flame is a book that I've actually finished writing it. I could probably publish it today.
10th time. Sorry, I counted wrong. 10th time.
Oh, okay. I could publish it today, but schedules, right? You gotta,
they're
strategic.
Just casually wrote a book over the summer.
Yeah.
Just got a little bored, so just started typing in there. Who knows what's going to happen?
The COVID pandemic particularly gave me a lot of time to write. I probably wouldn't be feeling so, stress-free right now. Also, the stream's echoing for some reason. I can hear it very quietly in the background. So somebody fix that, I guess. Yeah. Here, wait. Let's see who that is. Oh, it's me. I feel stupid. I apologize, everyone.
Boy.
Anyway, so let's see. What was I saying? I was talking about my book.
Schmoney, baby.
It'll be available. My book will be available on November 1st if you would like to buy it on Amazon. And as I said, it's
you know what you're going to use to buy it? Schmoney, baby.
Yeah, it's the sequel to another book I have, A Truly Dead Rock, that is in the description as well. So you might want to check that book out before you read the sequel. But yeah, let's talk about today's topic, which is Schmoney.
Schmoney, baby.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, money is like, I don't know, I guess it's like a charged topic in some circles, but we're trying to be really objective here. I mean, we're just talking about currency, really. So,
sorry, I'm just looking at this slide here, and I can't. Who designed this slide?
Which one?
The season 4, slide 6.
Yeah, that's me.
You gave Sebastian a lot more money than you gave yourself.
I guess that's true.
Considerable thousands more.
If you consider the value of Bitcoin.
Yes.
How much is Bitcoin at right now?
10,000.
It was at 10,000. Yeah. We checked it.
No.
We checked it a couple days ago.
Oh my God, it is.
It's at 10,000. It was at 11
later. But yeah, so money, I would say it's almost as old as civilization currency, because if you think about just the fact that people like to trade things, one person has something, but they have a lot of that thing, they have extra, but they don't have something else. I mean, it's just really basic, just the concept of trade. How do you describe the concept of trade? So money really gets down to like the root of humanness. I don't know how to describe it. But money is basically or currency is a tool that makes trade and exchange a lot easier, because instead of having to barter and trade individual objects, you can trade for money and then take that money and trade for something else. So it's indirect, but like, say that you would consider the value of object X to be, 50% greater than the value of object Y, and you want to trade object X and object Y. How would you do that in like a trading system? Someone would have to like throw in a few other things, say objects W, V, and U. But with money, you can just take object X and trade it for, some unit of currency, and then take the appropriate amount and trade that for object Y. So it just makes things a lot more dynamic, a lot simpler, and just a lot better, because it's like, you're not always, because say that you don't even realize you want something, and then you find an advertisement and you're like, oh wow, like you're walking down the street, oh wow, that's a really cool thing. Like you would need to bring valuable trading goods with you in like a backpack everywhere. It just does not make sense. Money makes things so much easier. Just as a society, it allows things to run smoothly. So that is what we're talking about today. So different countries have different currencies. Different countries have different currencies, different units, and we're going to talk about some of them. So we are going to begin, as this is an American show. We're going to talk about the US dollar, but we will talk about other currencies as well. So we start with the US dollar. I would say the most well-renowned of the dollars. There are quite a few other dollars, but if you say just the dollar, people are probably going to assume you mean the US dollar, unless you are in a different country. Well, I guess that's a little self-explanatory. What I mean is, like, if you're in Britain and you say a dollar, they will probably think you're saying US dollar and not Canadian or Australian dollar. So Yeah, but officially it is the US, the United States dollar, because you need to specify. If you are handling currency in large quantities and exchanging it, you got to be specific. You don't want to accidentally trade your money for a given amount of Canadian dollars, which are only worth 76% as much. That would be quite the calamity for any given trader. So yes, this is the US dollar, and you guys are probably familiar with it. But let's start. Maybe this will appeal to a foreign audience too, to explain sort of the U.S. dollar. But you'll learn something too, because there are some interesting quirks about the U.S. dollar. So we start with common coins. So these are just the standard, typical coins you'll see, the coins of the U.S. dollar. We've got the penny, which is worth 1/100th of a dollar. We've got the nickel, which is worth 5 cents, so 5 pennies or 1/20th of a dollar. You've got the dime, which is a tenth of a dollar, and the quarter, which is 1/5 of a dollar. It is 1/4 of a dollar. Uh, so, um,
Did you say
yeah,
1/5 of a dollar?
I said that sarcastically as a joke
Okay.
because it's literally called the quarter.
Yeah.
So
I guess
that was
cent is also pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it comes
Also,
from
dime,
centi.
actually. Dime comes from, deci. So it's
Yeah.
all except the nickel. I don't know what that. I mean, I guess it's referring to the metal, but yeah, no mathy names for that. It's the
Yeah.
odd man out. It used to be called the half dime, though. People used to call it the half dime, so that is more mathematical in nature. But these coins are sort of interesting. If you go around, if you have a penny, pennies are pretty useless, I would say. You really cannot do
Doesn't
anything.
doesn't it cost 2 cents to make a penny?
Yes, it
Yeah.
costs 2 cents.
I
We're
remember
actually going
reading
to
that
talk
it
about
costs
that.
more money to make a
We're going
penny.
to talk about that a bit later. There have been many arguments suggesting that we should discontinue the penny, as well as even the nickel or the dime, depending on who you ask. But it's one of those things, one of those quirks, as I was saying. But yeah, I mean, the argument is sort of compelling because if you have a penny, just a singular penny, that's all you have, you will be hard pressed to find much of anything that someone would be willing to trade with you for a penny. Um, there is nothing you can really exchange a penny for. I don't even think like vending machines or parking meters, I don't think they
They
even take
don't.
pennies.
They
They don't even
don't.
take pennies,
You
and they are
really
designed to
cannot
take
do anything.
coins. They are designed to take coins. Our coin machines don't even take pennies. So pennies are nearly useless. The only instances where you'll get pennies are usually, say, you pay for something and then with sales tax is worth like $5.67, right? So then they give you 3 pennies back, or you pay 2 pennies. But the people that actually take the time to count out the pennies tend to be uh, looked down upon because you're basically wasting everyone's time, is the way that people see it,
Yeah.
by counting the pennies. Oftentimes, when people don't even want to deal with pennies, so often they'll say, "Oh, keep the change," and the change being all the coins. So someone just does not want to deal with coins, so they're like, "Just take the coins. I don't want these stupid coins," right? And so the
Yeah.
nickel is a bit more valuable, but also not really. The nickel and the dime, I mean, can they be used in, say, vending machines or parking meters? I'm not sure about that. I think.
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
think so.
Okay. So you can use them in parking meters for like 15 minutes of parking or something like that.
No, not even. That's a quarter.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
That's a quarter if you're lucky.
you can get a few milliseconds of parking. Uh,
Yeah.
but what I imagine they were useful when phone booths were a thing, but those sort of died
Yeah.
out in, I guess, the 90s. So these coins have really lost their utility. I would say most of their usage probably came from phone telephone booths until they were discontinued. So
Well, I mean, I would say the only time I've ever used like pennies, dimes, and nickels regularly was when I was working at an ice cream store for like a day.
Okay.
And you have to give people exact change. You got to give them their money.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But when it comes to matters of just practicality, there is very little you can actually buy with a singular penny, a singular nickel, or a singular dime. At least with a quarter, you can score yourself one gumball. That's great, right?
Yeah.
Everyone loves that.
But I've seen a lot of those machines turning into 50 cents.
Oh,
it was so offensive.
That is horrible.
It was like, what? The whole point is you get your food at like the beach. You get your food at the beach, and then you go up to your parents. You're like, "Can I have the coins? Can I have the coins?" Exactly. Like, sure, you can have the 35 cents. And then you take it, you put the quarter in, and you watch the gum go.
Yep.
And then you take it, and it just is never as good as you expect it to be. It's
have you ever thought about doing movies, Brendan?
I
films, it's in the name.
I just remembered one use of the penny. When you literally crush them into commemorative tokens from a museum. If you've ever been to a museum that has one of those machines, and you put a penny in, and it crushes the penny and stamps it into like, I was at such and such museum. Which is technically illegal.
It's like a steal. It's like
because it's destruction of currency, which is not allowed. But also, those machines, which theoretically just take pennies, not only do they take the penny, they also charge you extra usually. So you have to put in the penny to be destroyed, and you need to put in like a few quarters for the...
Yeah, it costs like 2 quarters.
I remember a funny story about that, though.
For the wonderful service that we are providing you of destroying your penny.
All right.
You must pay us.
I'll keep my story brief because I know it's not my stream. But basically, I wanted to crush my penny, right? I wanted to get it stamped with a picture of the seal and say, I went to the aquarium, right? And I was like, Mom, Dad, can I please have 76 cents so I can do it? And they're like, no, we're not spending 76 cents so you can crush a penny. So I was like pouting, so I went up to it and I pushed in the thing and it started to go. And it clicked in my mind. This particular machine doesn't actually check to see if you put money in. It just goes. So then I put a penny in and I just pressed it in and it just went. So then I put a dime in and it went. I ended up putting like $2 worth of coins into this machine and just getting a sack of pressed coins.
That's interesting.
I was at a planetarium, the one where they have like Neil deGrasse Tyson's disembodied voice float through the entire place. I forget which museum it was.
Okay.
The one with also Sigourney Weaver's voice, disembodied voice floating. I forget where it was. I'll figure it out. But I was like, I must have been like 7 or something, and I see this coin pressing machine. And I'd never seen one before. And my dad, I'm like, Dad, what is this? And he's like, I'll show you. It's a magic trick. And I'm like, okay, Dad. He's like, do you have a penny? And I'm like, I'm an unemployed youth. He's like, okay. So he reaches into his... I'm 7. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a penny, says, look at this penny. And I'm like... And he's like, now check this out. And he plugs it into the thing, and he's like, turn the handle. And after he puts the quarters in, I'm like, okay. So I'd like turn the handle, and it comes out, and he grabs it, and he's like, remember that penny? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, look at this. And because I had cranked it so slowly, the picture was supposed to be of Saturn or something. It looked like actual garbage. It didn't go all the way through. It wasn't pressed hard enough. So it looks like a piece of shrapnel. So I left that planetarium thinking my dad just used the power of God to shred this penny.
Wow. That's great. Something else you'll notice, all the coins say United States of America and E Pluribus Unum on them, as well as Liberty, the year they were made. Yeah, sorry, there's major construction. Nah, not really.
Oh no, I was referring to your esplorum nanum dumbingingangung.
Oh yeah.
Whatever it says on the back of the coin.
Liberty, in God we trust. They say the amount it's worth and the date it was minted. So just a lot of basic information on there, I guess. So that's interesting. What else? What else about these things? But yeah, so really the quarter is the only one that is like marginally useful on its own.
And dollar coins are useful if you get them because they are $1.
Yes, we're actually going to talk about that.
I feel like particularly because of like the economic situation of most of our town, at least for me, like even a dollar bill is like you can't really get much with a single dollar bill.
Sure.
Like,
well, yeah, that is actually, so this is interesting. We'll talk about this in a moment. Actually, should we switch over to let's wrap this up and then switch over to this slide. So these are the common coins in America. They're fairly useless. So people will just drop them on the ground and not care. I think some math people have actually like made a formulation and they said that it is literally not worth your time to pick up a penny. It is like, because based on like the value of minimum wage or whatever, it is actually it is not worth your time to pick up a penny. If you drop a penny, you just gotta cold shoulder and keep going, because the amount of time, the like 10 seconds or 5 seconds even, and I guess this also depends on like what your wage is, like where you're employed. The amount of time it takes to actually pick up a penny is not worth the value of a penny. So yes, these coins are very low in value. Honestly, if you just like dropped all your coins, most people probably wouldn't really care. So yeah, coins.
Unless you have like a coin collection.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yes, I do actually have. I don't know where it went, but I had like 40 U.S. state quarters or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, no. I used to just like put all my quarters in a jar, and then I was like 10. I was like, I got like $50 in here, so I turned it into just like.
Yeah. No, the first person I ever saw that had a coin collection was my grandpa. He comes over. He's been all over the world. He comes over with this binder full of coins, and I'm like I like take an hour, and he's like, "You looking at all the countries I've been to?" And I'm like, "Yeah. What's this country? Arkansas. That sounds really far off." And he's like, "Yeah."
I can't believe you're related to me.
Wow. Yeah. But yeah,
the family line really died off, huh?
Wow, yeah, so those are the coins. But now we get into some strange coins. So here are some strange coins.
Yeah, let's see it.
These are the 50-cent coin and the $1 coin. So these are both like currently, I think they're both in mint. They are both valid money. Like you can walk up to a store and they have to accept it theoretically. But yeah, so we've got the $50, so that's 50 cents with Kennedy on it, and it's a pretty big coin actually. I think it's the largest of all of these coins.
It is large.
These slides, this slide and the last slide are to scale with each other and like internally. So this is all to scale. The next ones will not be to scale, but I just thought it was good to illustrate the point. So yeah, the 50-cent coin is silver and pretty large, and then you've got the $1 coin. I really like this rendition of the $1 coin because on the back of it they've got some NASA stuff, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, on the front,
are you looking at silver?
Yeah.
So you have the gold one.
Yeah, the gold one. I think most of them
collected
are gold.
Yeah, the ones currently in mint are gold, but they used to be they used to be silver, but then at some point they turned it from silver to just nickel. So a silver dollar coin is used to be 28 when I collected coins. I think now it's up to like 40 or 50.
Wow.
Is a silver
Max,
dollar coin?
Yep.
Can I show and tell the story about my Arabic coins, or do we have to keep this moving? Because I want to tell that story.
You can tell that story. I just realized we had chat though, so I'm gonna chat quickly.
Oh yeah, sure. Read that. I'm gonna go grab the coins.
Okay, yeah, go get the coins. So Juicy says, "I'm 12. 13 in the 29, so I understand. Does that count? What? Oh,
It's about the
13 in the...
disclaimer at the start.
Okay. 13 in
Juice
the
is from my
29.
stream. He's
Oh,
13.
on the 29th. Okay. Well, I will just say I cannot
Legally,
control.
he
I am
can't.
required
He's
to
not.
say no. You may not watch this stream. That is the legal requirement.
Nothing personal, kid.
However, I cannot control the actions of my audience.
Yeah.
But
all right,
do not watch the stream. Okay. So then we also got Jam says Schmoney, and then
Schmoney.
Fresh Black says Sup Yui. So one of
oh hey, Fresh Black's in the chat. What's up?
Yeah. So
all right. So I don't know how well this is gonna show up on camera. I don't know if you can see that.
It's a bit
here. Yeah, there. It's kind of got like Arabic writing on it. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it's got Arabic writing on the back, and it's got a like literally Aladdin's lamp on the front.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I don't know how well that's gonna show up, but the story of how I got him. So I go to Yale, right? Smart guy. So I go for the summer program. You know, it's on the campus, and I walk around. I take random classes. You know, this was last year I was there. There was a significant portion of Russian kids. Like every year, they try and get people from like different areas. So there was a significant portion of Russian kids, and I became friends with a lot of them, and I still talk to one of them today. And then there's this one kid that showed up, right? And, you know, he pretty much only spoke Russian, and his name was Z. He wanted us to call him Z, just the letter Z. I told this when we were at the beach the other time, when I had all those fries. But I
was that the didn't you throw them up?
I did, yeah. Different story. So I'm talking with Z, you know, like as best I can, and I'm like, yo, what's up? What's Russia like? And he's like, I live in Singapore, and I'm like, oh, you know, that's cool. But you know, he was usually talking Russian to the other kids. He seemed like cool enough, but then I started hearing rumors and hearing stories and stuff about how this kid was supposedly like crazy. He slept maybe 30 feet away from me. So I go down to his room, I like knock on his door, you know, and he's like, what's up? And I'm like, yo, they're saying mad crazy stuff. And he's like, it's true. And he closes the door. You know. So his real name was Xanthos, which is why we called him Z. Don't dox me, Xanthos, if you're watching this. But Z had a tattoo of the letter Z, like on his leg or something. Wow. Keep in mind that we're 13 at this point, so this is a 13-year-old running around with a tattoo. Wow. And
naturally.
He gets in trouble. He gets in trouble one day, and everyone is trying to figure out what he get in trouble for. He just snuck vodka onto the campus, and they found him. They were like, "You're what are you? What?"
That's like the kid in my camp. What is it with Russians?
So, he gets almost expelled, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, I don't know how they do it in your country, but if you do that here, your ass is going back." Okay. You know. So, he was like, all right, I got it. Keep in mind, that happened on his 4th day of being there. So he showed up like halfway through the session, so that was his 4th day.
How did he even know someone, you know, that had vodka? You know,
I don't even know. I think he snuck it in, or he had it.
Has no idea. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Russian kid at my camp, his parents would send him.
Oh,
vodka.
That is tough. Oh my god. But Z started getting more social, you know, because he got to know us lads. You know, he liked me because I was the stereotypical American. I was actually one of the only like white American kids there. So like he liked talking to me. We talked about the Cold War as best he could in his English. And one day he just brings it in his room and he starts talking about a whole myriad of things, a lot of things I can't say on stream, but one of the big things was that he had family in the Russian mob, right? So this is a real Russian mobster. Okay. I'm feeling like the Machine. I'm like, oh, this is kind of sus. Night. The Machine story?
I watched The Machine last night.
That's my favorite comedian.
It's so good.
I love him. But so, I'm feeling like him, he's telling me, he's like, yeah, man, I got a cousin, I got a brother in the Russian mob. They've like shot people, it's all crazy over there, and I'm like, okay, Z. I still love that he had that tattoo, just so if you forgot his name, you can like check his leg and you're like,
a permanent name tag.
Exactly. So, point in case, he got kicked out. We still to this day don't know what it was. Either he snuck in more vodka, or like the allegations went as high as cocaine and went as low as a submachine gun. So we're like, it was a big gossip thing. To this day, I don't know what he did to get himself kicked out.
Probably a combination of all of the
things you just said. So we hear the news, so we all run back to the thing. It's called the tower where you sleep. We all run back to the tower, and we're like, "Hey, yeah, what's going on?" He's like, and he's just saying something in Russian, and I'm like, "Damn!" So everyone leaves except for me. I'm like kind of talking to him, and I'm a little like tepid to ask him what happened, but I'm like, "Oh, do you want me to carry your bags down?" Because we're on the 5th floor of the tower, so we're 5 stories or 5 whatever's high, and it's just a big stone staircase all the way down. He's like, all right, yeah, sure. So I carry his bags down, and he meets me at the bottom, and I put him down, and I'm like, good seeing you, Z. And he's like, thanks, man. And he goes to shake my hand. So I shake his hand, and he claps, and he puts something in my hand. So now this basically member of the Russian mob has just placed something in my hands.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, see? Okay. So, he leaves, and I run up to the tower, and I don't look at what's in I can kind of feel it, but I go into my room, and I look at it, and it's these 3 coins, and I look at them, and they are from the United Arab Emirates. That only adds more questions to this story.
Why does he that's crazy.
Because he's Russian, so if he gave me rubles, I would have been like, okay. He lived in Singapore, so if he gave me yuans, or I think that's their currency, if he gave me like yen or yuans or whatever, I would have been like, okay. United Arab Emirates.
That's like the Russian kid. This is totally off topic, but the Russian kid at my camp had a North Korean flag from North Korea.
Oh, wow.
And he wore it as a cape.
How did he pull that off?
He went to North Korea.
Wow.
Damn.
That's interesting.
Twice. On a school trip.
What? That's great.
Yeah, I didn't ask too many questions.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah. So, anyway, about the strange coins, right? So, these coins are strange in that they aren't very popular. Like, no one really uses them that much. And I think there are sort of some reasons why. So the $50, it kind of makes sense because we already have the quarter. So it just sort of seems a little useless, I would say. Right? Like, it's just like, I'll just have 2 quarters. I don't really need to deal with having this $50 thing around, right? But the dollar coin I find more interesting because a lot of other countries, and we're going to go through some of these countries later, but a lot of other countries have dollar coins and they don't have dollar bills. So a lot of them even have $2 coins and no bills up until the $5 bill. The US, we've got $1 bill, $5 bill. But for some reason, so we also have coins, but for some reason, Americans just do not like $1 coins. Inexplicably, I just have no idea why.
Out of here. No, I like dollar coins. I don't know why.
It's really cool. It's really cool to have, but like I don't use them as currency.
Well, the problem,
I just kind of stockpile them.
The problem too is that
last time I got one,
as soon as you use a dollar coin, you no longer have the dollar coin, and when you get change back, it's going to be a dollar bill. So you just have a tendency to lose dollar coins, essentially. But yeah, what were you saying?
I was going to say the last time I got a dollar coin was probably when I lost my last tooth.
Wow.
I don't know how it worked for you guys, but the tooth fairy always
gave me dollar coins. Yeah, that was the same with me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not. Just the bills.
I'm sorry that you had a deprived childhood.
Yeah, I didn't get dollar coins. Oh, no. Anyway, so the thing about the dollar coins is that the U.S. government has tried to put it into place a lot because the dollar coin would actually be a cost-saving measure because they are more expensive to make than the dollar bill, but they last so much longer that you wouldn't have to keep remaking them. So the last time in like the 2000s, the decade thousands, they tried to like force the dollar coins into circulation. So like if you were to go to any sort of U.S. government building, they'd always give you change in $1 coins and stuff. And if you went to like vending machines, all the U.S. government vending machines would accept dollar coins. And they set up a website where you could purchase dollar coins for $1, obviously, right? Because they wanted people to just easily have access to these dollar coins. And what happened was that they allowed people to pay by credit card, and a lot of credit cards have like the way that a credit card works is that it's like a little bit extra. It costs a little bit extra, so it costs $1 for the person, but then like a little bit extra just like comes in from like the person selling essentially. And so the U.S. So what happened was that a lot of credit cards offer sort of bonus points. If you've probably heard, I don't know, you might have a credit card, or your parents, you might hear about like or you might see it on ads. They say like 1% cash back or whatever when you pay for gasoline or something like that. So like every time you get say $20 worth of gasoline, they give you 20 cents back. And so one of these credit cards, a lot of airlines put out credit cards and they give you airline points. And so people were able to buy a dollar coin and then get like 1 or 2 airline points, right? So some people realized that this was an exploit. So they purchased, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollar coins to get the airline points, right? It was just free money. So then they could fly for free to whatever place they wanted to fly to. So this kept
duplication
happening.
Glitch
In real life, duplication glitch, exactly. So the U.S. government had to shut it down because people were buying too many of these
Have they
coins.
patched this one yet?
They patched it a while. This was like 10 years ago.
They achieved what they wanted.
No, that's the problem.
They got them into circulation.
Once people... No. Because once people got their 10,000 $1 coins, they just went straight to their bank and put it in the bank. And then it just sits there. So, so yeah, that's the story of the dollar coin. People just don't like the dollar coin. The only time that people will willingly accept the dollar coin is if it's just free money. It's a money faucet. It's just it's
free
sad.
money.
It's sad. I mean, look at this. Gold coins. We don't really have any gold coins. The lower ones. You just got the copper for the penny, but all the other ones are just gray, silver color. I like this coin, but unfortunately, it isn't.
I always would try to trade it for the silver ones. I always like not like the obviously I'd trade it for a silver one, but like the nickel ones, just because the nickel ones are octagons, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I remember actually.
Or like it's a circle. Yeah. It's a circle, but the inner stamp is an octagon.
I remember the half dollars. I think one of the $50 models were actually like heptagons or septagons, whichever one, the 7-sided one. I think it's heptagon.
Septagon. Right? Seven.
Well, September, but there's also hept because of the movie
Hept, yeah, I was going to say, it could be heptagon.
So, I don't know. One or the other, right? But they were 7-sided shapes. That's all I really have to say about these coins, unless you guys have anything else you'd like to add.
No.
I like it.
So
I just like dollar coins. I think I counted one time, and I had like $80 in dollar coins just chilling.
That is a lot, yeah.
I gold all in my chain.
Yep. So next
I got money on my trade.
we move on to defunct coins. So these are coins.
Oh, I made Sam Adams, by the way.
Oh,
if you want to see. As a card.
Yeah. Let me run through this quickly. So these coins
I'll put it at the end.
Okay. These coins are no longer in mint, and like they're really old. So like if you were to go to a store and say, "Here is my coin," they will first of all likely say like, "No, what is this?"
Hang on. I'm just gonna go get my coin collection.
Right. But secondly, it would be very dumb because these are old, and because they are old, they have appreciated value. So if you were to spend, say, a half cent, that would be one of the dumbest financial decisions you could ever make, because that half cent is worth a lot more than half of a cent. But yes, let's go through these. So starting on the left, then going down, and then like that in 3 columns. And we have the obverse and the reverse here. So we've got the half cent coin, the 2-cent coin, the 3-cent coin, also called the trime, which is horrible. I don't like that as a name. Then what is this?
It's not good, man.
This is the 20-cent coin, which is just odd for us Americans. Then there's, what is this next one? This is the quarter eagle, and the quarter eagle is worth $2.50. Then you've got the $3 coin, the half eagle worth $5, the eagle worth $10, and then the $20 coin. So these are some very interesting coins. So when it comes to discontinuation, the half cent was discontinued because it was worth too little, and that just sort of makes sense. Did not mean to make a pun there, but because it's worth half a cent, and today the penny is already incredibly useless, right? The penny is already just useless, so the half cent, it outlived its usefulness, and the mint discontinued them. And a lot of people say that we should just do the same thing for the penny, right? Because we did it before. We got rid of the half cent for being, too not worth anything. So why can't we do that for the penny? I don't know. It's just gotten too complicated at this point. For some things like that, I don't know, don't change. I think it's interesting. I think there are penny lobbyists, and it's really just this one company that supplies the US Mint with zinc. And zinc is used 95, the penny by composition is 95% zinc and then 5% copper, because so the copper's on the outside to make it look like a penny, but the zinc is on the inside because zinc is cheaper than copper as a metal. And so the main zinc suppliers are like, we can't get rid of the penny. So there's your reason. I mean, that's one of the reasons. The other reason is just politicians have more important things to worry about. Blah, blah, blah. Insert cynical government joke here, right? They don't have time to worry about making efficient currency. And then the other ones sort of fall into place. The $3 coin and the 3-cent coin. As humans, I don't know. I feel like we just don't like the number 3 in money. 3 just does not work in money. Which is interesting because 3 is the closest approximation of the square root of 10. So if you were to have a scaling system, it would sort of make sense. But the other thing is that 3 doesn't divide neatly into 10. So that's why you have multiples of 2 and multiples of 5 are very common, because those are the 2 factors of 10. You also got multiples of 2.5, because that is 1/4. So that's sort of just simple divisions of 10, because we have base 10 and 10 fingers, and we are a very decimally civilization. We like decimals. So that's why 3s never really take off. And then the higher value coins, it sort of makes sense, because imagine you have a $20 coin. It's maybe this big, and it's just casually in your pocket, and then you drop it and you do not notice, right? That would be more catastrophic. I mean, not really catastrophic anymore, because $20 is a reasonable amount, but these were discontinued in the past, where if you were to just have a $20 coin and casually drop that $20 coin, that was a lot of money. That could be a day's wages. You don't want to be carrying around a day's worth of work in a tiny little token. So that's why they got rid of the 20.
I see no issue with that.
You see no issue with that? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, it's interesting. The reason that we have bills for larger denominations and coins for smaller ones is that it's like easier to lose coins. It's like harder to lose a bill because it is just physically larger.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I arrived with my coin collection.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's all of it, but I have
All right.
3 containers. This one is labeled World Coins.
Okay.
This is pretty much just... I used to go to this place called... Actually, I don't want to say the name because it's a local business and there's not many.
Okay.
But I used to go there and I'd just buy a random coin.
Mm-hmm.
For like $5, you could get a coin out of their bin of random world coins. One of the things I have is a steel penny from 1943, so during World War II.
They did
this
that
is a
they wanted,
large cent.
like copper. They wanted copper to build.
Yeah. So this is a 1 cent coin. I believe you have one of these on the slide. Yeah, this is that one in the top left. Is this?
Oh, that's a half cent.
Or no, it's not a half cent. What am I saying? It's okay. It's not up there, but it has the same person on it actually.
Huh.
So this is a 1 cent coin. This is a 20-something coin from 1894. I think this is Britain. This is from China. I think. I can't read what's on it. Mm-hmm. This is from Costa Rica. It's 20-somethings from 1985.
Pura Vida.
This is a $500 coin.
Wow.
From Mexico.
Oh, that's 500 pesos.
Who knew?
They use the dollar symbol. We'll go over that in a second, but
yeah. This is an old penny. What's this? Oh, this is just a wheatback. I have like 50 of those. You can buy a wheatback for $1 and sell it to them for 2 cents. This is the Republic of Kenya. I'll just blitz through the rest of them. This has a cat on the back. What is this? Independent but lovable, a beautiful animal. God created man and woman, and great dogs. Cool. I don't know where that's from. Another Chinese coin. Another Chinese coin. Another Chinese coin. This one is steel. It's got a crest on it. It is 100 soles de oro of Peru, 1980 Peru. This is 100 somethings. Lithuania? No, Italia. Italy.
Italia. Well, that is their
3 pence.
That's what they call themselves.
3 pence from 1941. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
This is Elizabeth II is on this coin, and this is 2 shillings from 1955.
That is a florin. 2 shillings.
I have truly no idea what this is.
Maybe it's a Dave and Buster's or some other arcade place token. Sometimes that'll get.
This is another Mexican coin.
Yeah.
5 pesos from 1976.
Nice.
This one is sick. This is an old dime. Like a very old dime from the United States. And it is tiny. This is actually 10 cents of silver.
Wow.
Is what this one is.
Nice.
This one is so shiny. Venezuela. This is, I think this is a nickel. Yeah, a nickel from 1899. From America. This is from Brazil. 5 Brazilian currency. Republic of Cuba. 1 cent from 1946. That's kind of cool.
Got a lot of coins.
I'm almost done. Queen Elizabeth II. 5 shillings. Nice. This is a meaty coin. Listen to this one. This is just 50 cents from 79. What is this? This is a museum coin. Oh, there is one thing that I thought was super cool that they sold. It was misprints. So this is a base of a penny but the stamp missed.
Oh no.
I think
that's interesting.
Like, that's pretty sick.
That is sick.
Yeah,
that's pretty sick. They sell those for like 50 cents each. This is from the Barbados from 1999. Here is another big cent from 1846. This is why we should use coins. They last a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is from 1887. It has a Native American on the front. It is a 1 cent coin, so a penny. This is from 1863. The same thing, except this one is silver. And this feels like actual silver. This is an aluminum coin. It's Cinco de Nera. And, oh, that's Russian. I don't speak Russian, but I know that's Russian.
Hey, I know a guy.
Yeah.
Apparently their coins are aluminum, because steel is not that light. This is, I've got 4 left, including this one. Emperor of India. 1942, 1 penny. They've got a meaty penny. This is the Buffalo nickel. So this is United States of America, but it has the buffalo on front. And it has a Native American on the front. So buffalo on front, or Native American on front, buffalo on back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the date. Oh, 1927. This is another one of those, 1935. And then the last one is from ancient Greece.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, and I have one from ancient Greece.
It is just a circle with a 1 stamped in it.
It seriously lasted that long?
Yeah, it is copper, and it is rusted, and it's bad, and you can tell there used to be something on the back, but it's gone.
That is very cool, actually.
Yeah. Ancient Greece. I have a coin. I don't know where it is, but it's from it's a drachma from Greece. I think 800 BC.
That's
and I forget who the ruler is that says it on it. I'll try and find it. I'll tell you if I find it.
That's really cool. Yeah, so these are the defunct American coins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. We can go to the next slide, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So now we got the common bills. So these are the standard bills if you are visiting America.
This is the cash money you see.
Yeah. So we've got the $1 bill, the $5 bill, the $10 bill, the $20 bill, the $50 bill, and the $100 bill. On the obverse, we've got Washington, Lincoln, Hamilton, Jackson, Grant, and Benjamin Franklin. So Franklin was not a U.S. president, nor was Hamilton, but they were both important, like founding fathers. So yeah. So the reason that some of these people are on here, I mean, Washington, obviously, Washington, first president, so he gets the first bill, the $1 bill. Lincoln, very important president, 16th president. That's why he's on the 5. Civil War, ending slavery, that was very important. Then you've got Hamilton, and Hamilton's there because he was the first Secretary of the Treasury, so he was very involved with money. Then Andrew Jackson, he's on there. He's on the 20 because he is the U.S. president that got the closest to eliminating the U.S. national debt. So he got the closest to actually eliminating it, but nobody has, and it's sort of ballooning out of control now. And then there's Grant.
Shucks.
I don't know what Grant did. I don't know why he's there, but Franklin's there because
he's big boy.
Benjamin Franklin is on the 100 because, well, scientist, statesman. He was the everyman. He was like one of the coolest guys.
Yeah.
So that's why he's on
So while we were talking about while I was talking about my coins, by the way, I completely forgot I had all of this stuff. I just totally forgot I collected this stuff. This is a bill my father gave me, and it's very fragile and falling apart. It is from the I'm going to be honest. This isn't English.
Okay.
But I can tell what it says because it looks like English with more letters. So it's the Social Federal Republic of Yugoslavia.
Wow.
In 1970.
Yeah. Cool.
And it is the 500, but
that's solid.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if we've touched upon these yet. I just got a classic.
Yeah.
The old
He's got the two. He's got the two.
All right. And then I got my dollar coin supply.
Yep. Nice. So the $1 bills. People like to point out the Illuminati logo on the $1 bill. It's the Eye of Providence, though. So it's supposed to be Providence, I guess. Yeah. So it's interesting. I feel like are there any other people that are on multiple currencies like within our system? Because Lincoln has the penny and the $5 bill.
Yeah.
Washington is on the quarter, right? That's Washington, yeah. And so
is he? No.
Yeah. So
I just found one more thing. Sorry to interrupt.
So he's also there.
But I got this. This is my most recent edition.
Mm-hmm.
I got this like 2 years ago. I went to the Treasury. And at the Treasury, you can buy something pretty cool.
Whoa.
This is fully activated spendable money. It's just not cut. So I have it fully in my rights as an American citizen to cut this up and spend it.
That's pretty cool.
And I just have a sheet of ones.
That's great.
Man has so much dough, it ain't even cut.
Hey, I go to sleep at night with
He doesn't cut the crust off his bread.
Oh my gosh. It would be pretty cool to just show up to a store and say, "Here you go. This is
just $32."
Yeah,
Thank you.
Exactly.
It was funny. You want to know how much they charge for this stuff?
How much?
They take the amount of bills in the sheet and just multiply it by 2. It's like if you wanted 64 bills, it was $128. If you wanted 128 bills, it was $256.
Wow.
I got this. Yeah. I got the 16, I think.
Nice. But yeah, so these denominations of currency, what I would say the 20 is probably used quite a bit. So interestingly enough, the $100 bill, a lot of like fast food places, but like a lot of stores will just say, no, we do not accept the $100 bill. You might notice the blue stripe on the $100 bill, and that is because it is the most valuable, so that is like a very enhanced anti-counterfeit measure. So something interesting is that people that make counterfeit money will mostly make $20 bills because if they make a ton of $100 bills, it'll be suspected. It'll be worth too much. So the 20 is easier to get away with, but it's still worth something. So the 20 is most likely. You sure
know a lot about counterfeiting bills,
I do not counterfeit bills. Is
that your official statement?
Let's take that audio clip, cut it together, just make him say, I counterfeit bills.
Oh gosh. Well, now you said it. So that's what we can cut.
Yes, it's been confirmed.
Oh, he admits
I counterfeit at a mass production level.
UE Films am a part of a mass production of counterfeit bills.
Yeah.
We got him.
Got him.
Heard it here first.
SWAT's gonna bust through my window.
Yeah, the Secret Service. Because the Secret Service, this is another fact, the Secret Service both protects the U.S. president and investigates money crimes. So they have 2 jobs, interestingly.
Oh, yeah, I remember us talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so then finally we got the 50. The 50, I don't know, people don't really use the 50 that much.
The 50 is the coolest bill.
Yeah.
Why?
By far.
I mean,
I remember at one point I had a $50 bill.
I mean, I know Grant.
Who is Grant? I don't care. The bill's purple. It's sick.
What do you mean the bill is purple?
They're all green.
It's tinted purple.
Yeah, okay.
What Monopoly money are you using?
No, look at it. It is tinted purple.
I just had one, like, the other day, and I went up to my dad and I was like, hey, a $50 bill is bull. Can you convert this into 220s and a 10?
Exactly.
What?
Yeah.
50? What do you mean it's tinted purple?
Well, don't you see it is tinted purple?
Purple.
You can tell, right?
Where?
On the slide.
It's just the coolest bill. Because it's not
the
100,
is
right?
tinted blue, the 10 is tinted orange, I think the 5 is probably tinted yellow.
Okay, yeah, I guess
but
you
the reason I think the 50 is the best bill, right, is because if you have $100 bill, that's $100. You are like, you're going to use that and you're going to spend it, you're going to buy yourself
it's the
nice.
100. It is the 100 without question.
If you have a 20, then like, okay, it's just a 20. If you have any other bills, fine. But the 50 is like cool. You don't see it that often. And when you do see it, if you wanted to like, if you wanted to just kind of like keep it and just like be like, oh, this is pretty sick. It's like, it's $50, sure. But it's like, that's a manageable amount of money to not spend and just
picture it.
It's cool.
Picture it.
Yes.
Have you ever been listening to just some bops, right? Like you're just in your car driving, you're listening to some music, and you know what's popular now today, hip hop and rap. That comes on, and you got some rapper and he's talking about we in the club and we throwing them Franklins. He's not saying we in the club throwing them Grants. That's not what he's saying.
Just you wait until my music label hits it big. All right.
It's big. That's your number one hit single track is going to be called "Spending Them Grants."
It's going to be called "Student Grants," but it's not going to be what you think.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, other currencies actually have far more color variation, and the joke, Canadian currency specifically, people like to joke that it's monopoly money.
It does look like it.
It does.
But
it does.
But yeah, so those are the common bills if you ever visit America.
If you've never been to America,
because people here probably understand the currency. But yeah, so let's go on to the strange bills. We've got one, and that is the $2 bill. It is not used that often, but it is minted occasionally. Occasionally, they'll mint the $2. I mean, I don't know why it's like just strangely like half popular. I think it sort of has an intermediate like value problem, and I don't mean the calculus theorem. It's sort of like with the $half.
I just don't understand the words you just said at all.
My calculus friends probably do, but so the $half and the $2, I feel they're just too close to the value of $1, so no one's like, I'll just have $2 or I'll have 2 quarters. They don't really need to have the one in the middle. So you got the quarter, the dollar, and then the 5. I feel like it sort of makes sense to have that scaling up. Yeah, for some reason we have both 5s and 10s, but I don't know why the $1 has this sort of like value vacuum around it.
Because I feel like there's enough of a value. It's less of the fact that it's doubling in value and more of the actual difference in value. The difference in value between a 1 and a 2 is $1. You can just carry another $1 bill, and like if that one bill gets dropped, it's $1. It's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to carry $100, right? So you carry let's say $100 bill. That's so inconvenient. No matter what you buy, you're gonna have to break the 100.
Yeah.
But like, if you carry a 1, then you only have to break 1 bill. Then like, oh, here's a 2 and a 1. It's just more complicated.
No,
I guess that's true.
No, the Franklins
doesn't make as much sense.
The Franklins. Who was Benjamin Franklin? That's a question we can answer. Who was Grant? No one knows. That's not a question we can answer.
Wasn't he like?
He was
the leader of the Russian Soviet Party?
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. But Benjamin Franklin is known for being what? A founding father? Sure. Writing the Constitution or helping with the Constitution. Maybe. Inventing stuff. Maybe. But what do we all know him for? We know him for being a Chad, being a baller, and getting syphilis in France, and just being an overall legend.
Okay.
Let me ask you something.
Are you supporting the actions that cause STDs to be spread?
Let me ask you something, America.
Where's this conversation?
Who would you rather have in your wallet?
Obviously, I'd rather have 100 in my wallet, but if I think the 50 has the best design.
Who would you rather have in your wallet? A man known for having syphilis and going around France and being a baller, or some guy who you've never even heard of?
All right, let's look it up. Let's see what he did. Let's see what he do. Let's see what he did. Look it up. I'm busy.
What did Ulysses S. Grant do?
Okay, I'm gonna keep talking about the $2 bill for a bit. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
whoever can tell me what number president he was gets $50.
$50
without googling it.
I have no idea.
Ulysses
I'm gonna guess
F.
31.
Grant.
That's googling it.
31. That's my guess. 31.
31.
Yeah.
Brendan,
he's old.
You're googling it. He googled it.
I didn't Google it.
That's the number.
It's all in the brain.
It's all in the brain. He's the 18th president.
The brain and the executioner.
Anyway, the $2 bill has Jefferson on it. On the front, it's Thomas Jefferson. On the back, you probably recognize this image. It's the John Trumbull painting of the signing of
Trumbull.
John Trumbull signing of the Declaration of Independence. So, Thomas Jefferson was pretty relevant to the Declaration of Independence.
One of my ACT readings was about that painting.
Oh, damn.
Well, we've got the 5.
Yeah,
so the squad
basically,
right there.
Basically, Ulysses S. Grant is known for shitting all over the White House and turning it into the Brown House. That's the only thing he's known for. I just went through his Wikipedia page.
I think that means he did something pretty cool.
He shit constantly. That is the only thing he has ever done. How dare you say the $50 bill is better than the $100 bill?
I'm just going to continue. Other people you've got on here, one of them is from Connecticut, you guys. And then the other is John Adams. So in this group of 5, you've got Jefferson, Adams, I think Franklin too, actually. And then
Ulysses is kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie.
What do you do?
So he was one of the main generals that helped us win the Civil War. During Reconstruction, he worked with radical Republicans to help protect African Americans and reestablish the public credit while rebuilding the U.S. Navy.
Nice.
But did he go around France just being a baller? No, he didn't. Brendan.
Gosh.
What's important in a president? Benjamin Franklin, the best president we've ever had.
President 0.
He was admitted to West Point.
The college? That was around?
Yeah, in 1843.
If something's prestigious today, that's because it existed a long time ago.
I guess. Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that's why the Ivy League's in New England.
Lee? Robert E. Lee?
Heard of him, yeah.
He surrendered to Ulysses S. Grant.
Robert E. Lee surrendered to himself because he's the only guy that could out-general himself.
Okay, I'm just going to continue.
I think Ulysses S. Grant.
That was the $2 bill.
This stream's going to take forever.
The $2 bill, not used very often. Okay, moving right along. Defunct bills. We've got.
I didn't know you swore on your streams.
No, defunct. So we've got the 500.
Like the dubstep duo.
Guys, we're never gonna get through this stream. This is gonna be a 24-hour stream just by just naturally. Okay, so we've got the $500 bill, the 1,000, the 5,000, the 10,000, and the 100,000. And who do we got on here?
Sorry, I have more on Ulysses. So he created the Department of Justice justice and help persecute the KKK. And you said he did nothing but poop in the White House. Sebastian, are you saying you don't support the things he did?
I'm gonna go take.
I love Ulysses S. Grant. I love Ulysses Grant. He's my favorite president.
Exactly. So which bill is the best? The man who abolished slavery, or the man who not abolished? The man who helped protect the rights of African Americans after the Civil War, or the man who just got STDs?
You know, I'm gonna give it to the $10 bill because Hamilton has a play about him, and I don't see anyone singing about Ulysses S. Grant. Sorry to break it to you.
Okay.
Watch me.
All right, sorry, Max. Go ahead.
People we've got on here. We've got McKinley, which is president. We've got Cleveland, another president. Madison, another president. And then who's this guy? Chase. I'm gonna assume he was another president, but I've never heard of him. Here, wait. It says under him, right? Yeah, no, I don't know. And then finally we've got Wilson. Wilson. So, why were these bills a thing? You wouldn't just casually, pull out a $100,000 bill at the supermarts. That's not what's really going to happen. The point of these were to transfer money between banks more easily. Because say one bank needs to give another bank $1 million, then you'd end up with one of those what is $100 bills stacked on top of each other? Like, you'd have to transfer so much money. So they just casually, send these bills over. And the reason they got rid of these bills, so there are a few reasons. In 1949, they stopped making them, but they would still accept them for bank transfers. But in 1964-ish, I believe, it was Richard Nixon. So maybe later.
It would be.
Yeah,
I bet that wouldn't happen if Grant was still president.
I think 1970, something like that. I think Richard Nixon, he got rid of these. He said these were invalid, and the reason was that a lot of mafia, criminal organized crime was using these large bills because naturally, untraceable payment of $10,000 in one bill. Yes, please, right, for organized crime. They would that.
I have one more thing that
Just let me finish.
I have one more thing. I'm sorry.
They discontinued them, but also the thing is, the reason they needed these for bank transfers is that electronic banking is a modern thing. Before they had computers, you couldn't just wire someone X amount of money, and so the banks couldn't just transfer money between them by just sending a number, right? So they needed to actually send these large denominations of bills. So that's why they existed. But yeah, they no longer exist. You might be able to find some still, but their face value is incredibly expensive, and their, antiqueness, their status will make them incredibly more expensive. So these are collector's items, but you would have to be a very wealthy collector. So yeah, that's it for the USD though. That's all the USD stuff we're talking about. So you guys, I'll give you just whatever amount of time you want until I deem it unreasonable. Just talk about whatever, because the next thing we're going to move on to is the British pound. So
I'll keep it brief. All right.
Okay.
Ulysses S. Grant established one of the national parks.
That's nice.
Which one do you think it was?
Yellowstone. That's the only one I know.
Yes. He made Yellowstone.
Oh yeah, he made it. He single-handedly placed each rock, tree, and the super active volcano Caldera.
Placed down some saplings, started bone mealing them, and then there's a big volcano. But who cares? We're not going down to Y level.
Hey, I got a question, Brendan. What are you using right now? What are you using?
My brain.
And?
A computer.
Your computer! What does your computer run on? Electricity. Who invented electricity?
Pure
Benjamin
Franklin.
He didn't actually invent electricity.
Max, I'm going to need you to be quiet on this one.
He invented the lightning rod to harness electricity, but they already
He went out there in the field.
He rubbed
and
his
had a key
and invented
and tied it to a kite, and he tossed the kite into the air.
Controversial or anything, but I wish he died from that lightning strike.
He redirected the lightning, like Iro.
By the way,
Uncle Iro.
A complete stroke of luck, considering he didn't understand
complete stroke of luck. You know what I think is strange? Shitting all over the White House, which Ulysses S. Grant was very prone to doing.
Is that what you call persecuting the KKK?
No, that was great, and no one is contradicting that, because that was great. But you know what Benjamin Franklin's greatest achievement was?
It sounds like you're contradicting.
Have you heard
the KKK?
I am not. Have you heard of the Franklin stove?
No.
Well,
I actually haven't.
That's because you're not intelligent. Because the Franklin stove is... Have you ever, eaten anything? If you've eaten stuff, you have probably had experience or proximity to a stove. And you know who invented the first stove? None other than my boy Benny Frankie. So I don't need
How many national parks
did
did Benjamin Franklin make?
All of them, because he's the father of America. I don't see Ulysses S. Grant on the founding fathers list.
Yeah, because he wasn't in the generation that owned slaves.
Have you read Poor Richard's Almanac?
Rather than own slaves, he was helping support African American rights.
Poor Richard's Almanac.
I think that gives him a lot more credit.
Was funny.
Who benefited from slave labor and built the country on the back of uncredited people in the Constitution. Ulysses S. Grant was working towards a Constitution that.
What are you reading off of?
You're reading off of anything. Ulysses S. Grant represented a better constitution, truly something that better supported the morals and the people that helped fund and construct the United States of America. And it's not my fault that you think that African American and minority people are lesser than the people who originally signed the Constitution, Sebastian. It's not my fault you have deep-seated racism in your brain.
Wow, okay. Well, I cannot believe that you don't support this country in all of its greatness.
I support this country.
You have on multiple occasions stated that you have single-handedly pioneered the drug cartel into the U.S. state of Connecticut.
That's just not
every single narcotic in the town, in the province of Connecticut has single-handedly been cooked, manufactured, bought, and or sold by you.
Let's be honest. If either one of us was going to be given that title, it would be you.
I don't think that's true, because you're just the drug kingpin, and you're trying to dodge all this by giving me crazy accusations about the Constitution or whatever you're trying to say.
So you're denying the fact that the Constitution blatantly ignores the discrimination of African American and other minorities.
No, I don't ignore that, which is why we have countless hours of talking about it on stream, which you can go back to, and we clearly acknowledge it. And I really hope I said slavery is bad. If I didn't, I'm saying it here now.
If you didn't, it means you didn't support it.
No, that's not true.
You got canceled, and now you're going to make your apology video?
I have not heard Ulysses S. Grant say anything about the Nazis. So I need you to get your shit straight.
Yeah, but how many Nazis were there in Yellowstone? Not many, I can guarantee.
Have you ever been to California?
What?
What are you saying about California?
I don't know. Non sequitur. Gosh, okay. I don't know what to say about that.
Actually, you know what? I think the $50 bill is kind of cool.
Wow.
If I ran out of toilet paper, what?
All right, I just don't know. I'm just
this bit is.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Benjamin Franklin repealed the Stamp Act.
Okay.
I don't understand the words that. So you're saying repealing stamps or whatever he did is more important than protecting the rights of African Americans, establishing Yellowstone, helping win the war. Hey,
buddy, I don't know if you've noticed, but what is Ulysses S. Grant the president of? America? You know what wouldn't be here without Benjamin Franklin? America? It would be called some British thing like the Commonwealth of not New England, of New London or something like that. That's what America would be called. They would call us the colonies, they would rank on us, and we'd be nothing more than Australia Part 2.
Historians have ranked Ulysses S. Grant out of everyone, Genghis Khan, literally everyone throughout history, as the 38th best military strategist, okay? And you're going to come at me with this fallacy that he is a lesser president. He wasn't even a president. He was just a founding father, literally a rat in the system, a cog in the wheel. He didn't even do that much stuff. And Ulysses
cog in the wheel
out here busting his butt to protect the rights of the people, defeat the people who want to keep slavery going so that we can abolish it. And you want to say that he is lesser because Benjamin Franklin helped make the post office? Clearly that's going well. Have you seen the news recently? The post office is going down the drain. It's not even going to be here soon.
Ulysses S. Grant has not made one statement against President Donald Trump.
You already used that joke. I'm out here innovating debate techniques, innovating
debate techniques. You're coming out with non sequiturs all over the place. Ulysses S. Grant cannot be comparable to Benjamin Franklin because they lived in different time periods. Are you going to compare Barack Obama to John Adams? No, you're not. Why?
Because I'm in AP Gov and I know I'll have to at some point.
Ulysses S. Grant did the best he could, but it simply wasn't good enough to match what Benjamin Franklin had done, which was
free the country. And then compare them.
Max,
I'm just saying. You just said you can't compare them.
Benjamin Franklin wanted the national bird to be a turkey.
Yeah, and you do water polo.
What does that have to do with that?
That's the non sequitur.
That is the turkey of sports is water polo because it's useless, it sucks, and no one likes it.
Of all time.
In history. Who did that ranking? Probably Ulysses S. Grant. Was he a co-writer on the BuzzFeed article that wrote that?
Talk about BuzzFeed articles. What are you talking about? The Constitution?
Yeah, the Constitution, which was
a BuzzFeed article.
I don't see Ulysses S. Grant's signature on the Constitution. I don't see his. I might be just losing my eyesight, but I do not see his signature.
To the Constitution, the CEO of the Constitution, who is not Benjamin Franklin before you say it, and he's going to take out a pen. And he's going to write his name. He would have, he could. But guess what? He couldn't have because the Constitution was already signed. But you know what would have happened? If Benjamin Franklin wasn't alive, we still would have America.
No, we would be living in Australia too, is what would happen. Because,
really?
Yeah.
You think without some old man
go up to anyone,
air baths, literally stripping down naked and just walking around naked for multiple hours a day?
Okay, well, JFK also did that, and we seem to think he was a pretty great guy.
Ed.
Okay, well, Winston Churchill was also a nudist, so there you go.
Okay, so now you support the British.
I absolutely do not. But here, this is the winner. This is the winner. Go up to anyone and say, hey, who's this? And you flex that $100 bill in front of them, they'll be like, that's my boy Benny Frankie. You flex
they'll probably call him a dead president too. People don't even know who he is.
You flex the $50 bill, they'll be like, who is that?
No one knows.
Richard Nixon? Arby's? They have no idea who is that.
They don't know what he did. They don't know who he was. All they care about.
Ulysses S. Grant might as well be the president of South Africa because no one knows who the hell he is. And look at him. Let's go.
So
let's go into
right
Bill.
now.
Let's go into. I am not.
You're
I'm
so
not.
racist
You
right
are a
now.
drug kingpin. You have funneled
not.
hundreds, and I
I'm
kid you not,
actually,
hundreds of millions of dollars into the crack epidemic of 1984.
And how
you.
much did Benjamin Franklin do for that, huh?
He invented crack.
So Benjamin Franklin.
Hey, I don't know if you know this, but the channel 128 Seconds would not exist without Benjamin Franklin's invention of crack.
I so hate Benjamin Franklin, then. You are just making your case worse.
You are one man against an army of facts.
And guess what? My facts are superior. You know why?
You don't have facts.
Ulysses S. Grant is by far a better president. You know why? Because he wasn't a president.
He was a president.
Benjamin Franklin.
No, Ulysses S. Grant.
Yeah.
You just said Ulysses S. Grant wasn't a president.
No, I meant.
Oh, see, we're letting illiterate people come into this debate because we can't even get enough of an education.
People.
Why are there poor people?
I know what it is.
Why are there poor people, Brendan?
Benjamin Franklin probably had a foot fetish. Is that why you identify with him so much?
I don't know what these allegations are. But Brendan, I gotta ask you something. Why are there poor people if Ulysses S. Grant was such a goddamn great president? Why do they exist? Why is there pain? Why is there suffering? Because no one's perfect, Brendan. Because Benjamin Franklin had flaws.
Support poor people.
I support poor people. I think they're funny.
Sam.
No, as people. They make funny jokes, not their state of poverty.
So you think them being impoverished is a joke?
You think that you can just funnel crack cocaine into African American communities and not be vindicated for it?
I just haven't done that.
You just have. I've seen you do it.
You know that game, Never Have I Ever? Yeah, Never Have I Ever, and then whatever BS you just said.
Well, never have I ever discounted the KKK or the destruction of the KKK.
It sounds like you are. It sounds like you're supporting a racist America.
I think you are supporting an America run by massive corporations with you as their sole leader distributing drugs.
Do you not support Reconstruction?
You're playing Counter-Strike!
I am not doing that. Oh, that just goes to prove how much of a better debater than you. I'm 95 in 15.
A better debater. I was qualified for states. What is this? This is my trophy for getting qualified for states.
Now you're
I am threatening you. This is a weapon. I'm gonna attach nails to this thing. This is how I'm gonna win my debates.
Shaking in the courtroom, so no one else could read their notes.
You're 175 pounds.
That's the only reason you won any of your debates, is because people just couldn't see or make sense of you. The fact that someone as big, as large, as dumb as you exists.
Well, that big, large, dumb man got to states. And where are you? You're on the water polo team, and you're not even the fastest one out there. I did not. It did not happen.
Okay,
so I might have won.
So you lost.
So you lost because your eyebrows.
What I'm hearing is you lost.
You lost.
All right.
How many viewers do we have?
We're down to 0.
No, we're not.
No, I'm joking. Disclaimer: Brendan, while is wrong, is not a massive drug kingpin. Brendan, now give your disclaimer on me.
I don't know if I don't really want to be caught lying on stream.
Oh. I'm just gonna say Brendan. I'm sorry, but I have been more convinced by Brendan in this argument.
Well, let me tell you something. This is the final
Thank you, Max! I always knew your channel was
thing.
better. Hey, ever notice how the channel run by Max, it does so much better than the channel run by Seb?
This is the final thing.
Okay.
50.
Riding the coattails of Gravity Max.
50 is less than 100.
And you're saying African Americans are less than Caucasians, is what you're saying.
Extrapolate that from the math equation I just gave you. It sounds like you're the one discounting African Americans if in just simple math equations you equate to some racial superiority.
Well, no,
chart.
I was actually doing the property of the transitive property of.
You think they're property? You're calling them property?
This is so morbid.
No, that's not what I'm doing at all. Oh, did I hit one of my voice changer keybinds?
No, you're good.
Okay, good.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Hang on.
My mouth is bleeding.
Okay, I'm just gonna continue.
Ulysses S. Grant is by far a better leader, general, and inspiration to the American population. And I think
There we go. Muted. So, okay, I'll unmute you. Fred. There you go. Okay.
I'm muted. You muted me?
I unmuted you now. The pound sterling, the great British pound. So, Britain has money too. Just like America.
Not much of it.
They have different money because they're a different country. So it is called the pound sterling. So if you're watching something from Britain and they say like X pounds, they are not referring to weight. In weight, I think they have some weird thing called stone. And I have never
Seb, you must
understood
be
it.
rich.
For what?
In Britain. I mean, how many pounds have you got?
140, Brendan.
You
weigh 175 pounds.
Talk to me. Sorry. You must be at least 6 feet to talk to me.
Okay.
I'll be 6 feet when I'm standing on your corpse, you Irish man.
I don't think you would be. You are 5'6".
And you're like, yeah, you're not even 2 inches wide.
So the Great British Pound is worth about $1.30 currently, but that is subject to change because of exchange rates. They change. It's kind of like stocks. So the British Pound has this symbol. Audio-wide, the font sort of messes up the symbols other than the US dollar, so it's a little different than that, but, you know. So let's begin with the common coins here. So the common coins, we've got, they are, see the word pence a lot? That is their version of cent. So you got one, I don't think they call it 1 pence, though. They say 1 penny. But they've got pence. So 5 pence, 10 pence, and we put a picture of Mike Pence up in the corner because that is how his name is spelled. So
whoa, Max. Are you supporting Mike Pence?
I am not supporting Mike Pence. I am pointing out the fact that his name is the name of the subdivisions of British currency. That is what I want. So, something pretty cool about the British coins is that all the back sides, the reverse sides of the coins, if you line them up, they form the British like coat of arms shield thing. So that's pretty cool. It looks like a little jigsaw puzzle. And then, yeah, on the left side, we've got the obverse. And we've got, so here are all the coins. We got 1 penny, 2 pence, 5 pence, 10 pence, and then 20 pence, 50 pence, 1 pound, and 2 pounds. So that's pretty interesting. They have a 2-cent piece, but we don't have a 2-cent piece, which is a little odd. Also, they follow the trend of preferring the 20 cents over the 25 cents. I don't know. I think it's just like a country preference, but I find it. So they don't have the quarter; they have the 20 pence. I guess they could call it a fifth, but I don't think they actually call it that. But you could. No, people will probably not understand if you go to Britain and say, "Oh, that's 1/5." They would just, what are you talking about? So then you got.
I just can't say what he messaged me on stream.
Well, then don't say
That's
it.
not.
So
I'm not going to.
You've got the 1 pound coin, and the 1 pound coin, it's like the dollar coin. But then, interestingly, you also have the 2 pound coin. So you can see here that in Britain, they like coins a lot more than we do. You know, they have much higher value coins. You got 1 pound and 2 pound. And I think that we should sort of have the same thing. I don't know. I'm kind of salty, as I said, about the $1 coin. But yeah, so, you know, 1 pound, 2 pound. That's sort of all the coins.
Red pound, blue pound.
Red. No. So those are the coins. I'm trying to think of anything else notable about these. I don't know. I feel like it just makes things easier if you're considering change as well as just like paying for things. I feel like it's easier to pay for things when your singular pound values are just coins. So like imagine you're at a store and something's like $27. You give them a 20, a 5, and then 2 coins. Or you give them like 2 20s and then they give you back, a 10 and then 3 coins. Like I feel like it streamlines things. But anyway, Britain is a very old nation, much older than the United States, right? And so their currency is also very old and has a lot of history behind it. And British currency used to be very weird. If you've watched any like movies or read any books that like take place in Britain before like the 60s, you might hear about the currency. And let me just switch to it. So the defunct coins. This is like their whole currency system in the past. It's just super weird, filled with a ton of weird things. I mean, these sound sort of like medieval units of currency. Like this sounds like some Tolkien, like in The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings. Like they'd like run into the elves, and the elves would be like, "Oh, that's 1 florin. That's threepence." Like it just sounds, it's just strange, right? And so yeah, it is pretty weird. And they had to fix it in the 60s. So you had the British pound, okay? And the pound was divided into 20 shillings. And then the shilling was divided into 12 pence. So you had 12 pence in a shilling and 20 shillings in a pound, which made for a total of 240 pence in a pound, which, is not 1/100. That is 240, which is just strange. So other coins they had the farthing, which is a fourth of a penny, which is crazy in like how low value that is. But just remember, this is more in the past. This is before the 60s. So it was worth something, but still not that much. But yeah, in the 60s, they fixed this by going through what they call decimalization, where they rose the value of the pence to be 1 cent, to be 1/100th of a pound. They left the shilling the same because that is still worth 5 pence now. It's just that the pence got elevated essentially. But yeah, so you got the farthing, you got the halfpenny, which is half penny, and then of course the penny. Then you've got tuppence, which is 2 pence, threepence, which is 3 pence. Then you've got the tanner, also
They're
known as
so creative with their names.
I know, right? I like. There's a lot of British slang, but yeah, the tanner or the 6 pence, half a shilling, because again it's 12. And I do have to say though, if it were a bit more consistent, I do like the whole division by 12 thing because base 12 is just objectively better than base 10 in a number of ways. So
sus.
It would be interesting if we had base.
He's an alien.
Yeah.
He's a communist sympathizer. That is the natural conclusion that could be drawn from this statement.
I prefer base 6.
Sorry, what? You prefer communism?
Base 6. But base 12 is better than base 10, I would say. But anyway, so then we've got the shilling, okay? Then we've got the florin, which is worth 2 shillings. And then this is where it gets just even worse.
Are you speaking German in our DMs?
I'm not. That's the name of the mountain.
So the next one is the half crown. The half
where
crown,
Ulysses S. Grant kept his slaves.
Jesus!
Wait.
Oh my god.
What?
Can we? Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Can I please keep talking about British currency?
I'm sorry. Go back.
Okay. So the florin is worth 2 shillings. The half crown is worth.
I'm watching the replay.
The half crown is worth 2.5 shillings, which is really interesting because that's just weird. It's sort of like the quarter eagle. So it's 2 shillings and 6 pence, which is just, it just feels inconvenient, I guess. So then you've got the crown, which is worth 5 shillings, right? And so then you get up to the British pound, and that's 1 pound. Then you've got the sovereign, which is like another coin, which is I forget. It was weird, but it's pretty much the same thing as 1 pound. Then we get to the guinea, which is like the weirdest of them all,
The what?
The guinea. It is actually hilarious.
Guinea. Like the country, not like the slur.
Oh, yeah. I was not aware that was a thing, but yes, the country.
I didn't know that was a thing either.
The West Coast
of Africa. It's a slur for Italian people.
Oh, I did not know that. Well, I did not obviously mean that.
But not when you spell it like that. Not when you spell it like that.
Okay.
Sebastian.
Because that's like the country.
Okay, so the country, there are two countries. There's Guinea and then there's like Papua New Guinea and yeah. Both.
Yeah, no. When you spell it like that, it's not. Okay, it's not the thing.
So the Papua New Guinea is north of Australia, and Guinea, which is the one that this refers to, is in the west coast of Africa. And Guinea was a previous British colony, and I would assume Papua New Guinea is as well, just because it's near Australia and it has the same name. And so the colony of Guinea was used to mine gold. And that gold was made into coins in Britain, and that coin was called the guinea. So the value of the guinea fluctuated between like 18 and 30 shillings, but they were like, eventually they decided, okay, we need to make this, we need to set this, we need to fix this exchange rate, essentially. We can't have this fluctuate all the time. So they set the guinea to be 21 shillings. Now, you might remember that the pound is 20 shillings, so the guinea is worth 5% more than the British pound.
Wait, why?
So it would be like you have a dollar bill, or you have the $1.05 bill, which is so dumb.
Oh, yeah, it's the... Well, wait, isn't this the tipping thing, though?
Yeah, so this is... I did bring this up. It has a little bit of a charm to it. But, like, there's, like, one perspective that you can look at this and be like, that's a little charming. But for the most part, it is just pretty stupid if you think about it. But the other perspective is if, like, someone that you respected, like a person that you respected that you were hiring to do something, and they were like, oh, that'll be £5, and you pay them in 5 guineas, they will be like, ah, thank you, I tip my hat to you, which I no longer have. Thank you for the 5 guineas instead of the £5, right? Because giving someone 5 guineas instead of £5, my hair is ridiculous, that's why I have a hat. That is why it would be like giving them a tip, essentially. A 5% tip, which, in America would be unacceptable in most instances. But it's just like it's sort of like a baker's dozen if you think about it, 13 instead of 12, just to say like, good faith, just a little bit of bonus for you. So in that regard, it's a little charming, but just for the most part, I'm like, this is the dumbest thing. For mathematics, it's like, why is this? But yeah, so those are the defunct coins. That's the defunct system of British currency. As I said, in the 60s, decimalization, because they were like, this is stupid. We can't keep doing this. We got to just fix this, right? And so they fixed it. And all is well in Britain now. Well, maybe not all, but when it comes to this one specific issue, that one specific issue is well now. So let's move on to the bills. So the bills all say specimen on them. They don't actually say specimen on them if you were to get a real one. But for some reason on Wikipedia, all of the other bills of different countries, they all say specimen on them. But the US bills don't say specimen on them. So I hope I'm not accidentally violating any laws by showing the US bills.
Bye, Gravity Max.
Right, I'm just going to hope that
it was a good run.
It was a good run, yeah. I'm just going to hope nothing bad happened there. So we've got the £5, the £10, the £20, and the £50. They don't actually have a £100. And all of them, they have Queen Elizabeth II on them, on the obverse, on the front, because that is the current Queen of England, and probably will be for the rest of time. And then on the reverse...
When she finally kicks it in like 2,200 something. Are they going to change it?
They would change it, actually, yeah. They've changed it. Pretty much the current monarch, the king or the queen, is the one that's on it. But then on the reverse, we have various other British figures. On the £5, I recognize Winston Churchill. I don't really know who the other people are. But yeah, so these are other British figures. And so it's interesting. The 50 pound is worth about like 75-ish, maybe $80. No, wait. 50, 65. It's worth like $65. So they don't really have a $100 bill if you think about it. But considering that in America, and I hope you guys don't start debating again. In America, a lot of stores just will not accept $100 bills, as I said. So it's interesting that in Britain, they just do not have $100 bills. They don't have something of that value. They only go up to 50 pounds, which is like $65.
Because no one needs a bill with that much currency behind it.
I guess. But
you know what, Brendan? I'm going to be the bigger man. I'm going to accept the fact that you lost the argument, and I'm going to move on.
I mean, we're about to find out who's right, aren't we?
Also, this is the proper.
I guess we are.
This is the proper British pound symbol on all these notes. So that's what it's supposed to look like. But yeah, I don't have much else to say about this one because I don't live in Britain.
Imagine living in Britain.
Yeah. I went to London for like a week when I was younger. I don't remember. Well, I don't remember when. I remember being there. And so I remember the money. The money was nice. No complaints there. But yeah, fish and chips. You can go down to a pub and like pay for your fish and chips with.
You went to a Max. I don't know if that's.
No, it's not an alcohol pub. I went with my family. Anyway. What? Okay.
Wow.
I'm just gonna move on. So this is the last slide for the British pound. We didn't have as much on this one, but I just find the defunct old system just so entertaining in its like ridiculousness, and just like it's so whimsical. It's just very fun. I imagine it wasn't particularly fun to the people of Britain, nor are they particularly happy to have it joked about. But I still find it fun. So. If you guys have any other comments, I'm going to move on to the euro. So,
British money?
I've made quite a few comments.
Okay.
British money.
Nothing. You guys are both good. Oh, we have more chat. We've got Scandinavy. Scandinavy says, "What's up?"
Scandinavy in chat. What's up, Jack?
Can you join?
Can I
Jack,
join?
This is a PG.
What have I walked into? What have I walked into? I don't know what I walked into either there, really. An Imperial ambush. But, yeah, so we walked into something interesting. But we're getting back on track here. We're just talking about money.
Yeah.
So, let's go to the next slide. So the euro. The euro is the new kid on the block. The euro was introduced in 1999. So it doesn't have like a crazy old system that like was super weird. It doesn't have like defunct bills or anything. It just is. So that's the euro. That's its symbol, roughly, again, because audio wide makes it weird. And the euro is currently worth about $1.18. So yeah. So let's get started with the euro coins. We got the penny, the 2 cent. I don't think they call it a penny, actually. They might just call it the euro 1 cent, or just the 1 cent, because, yeah, so they've got the 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent, 10, 20, 50, and then 1 euro and 2 euro coins. So similar to Britain. They're pretty similar, actually, when it comes to coins. They've got 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, so they don't do the 25 thing, they do 20s instead of 25s. They also have the 2 cent piece, whereas we don't.
You like that better, Max. Why is that?
I don't know. I just feel like it's nicer because it's only one, one sig fig, one significant figure.
Okay.
So I feel like it's nice.
All right, I respect it.
Yeah, all of these are 1 sig fig.
I respect the sig figs.
The 25, I'm sorry, the 25, I feel like money should just be 1 sig fig. Because the 25 is just unique in being 2 significant figures.
That's
nothing
fair.
else does that, even in the American system. Right? You've got one.
I feel like 25 kind of makes sense, though.
It makes sense a little.
It's like it's the exact same denominations as you have the 1, like you do in coins. You have the 5, like you do in coins. You have the 10, like you do in coins. You have the 25, like you do in coins. Then you have the dollar coin, and the 50, like you do in coins.
Wait, what? Well, the 20, we have a $20 bill. Like, we don't have a $25 bill. You know?
Yeah.
So, anyway, that is just my preference. I prefer the 20s instead of the 25. 25/20 debate. Let's go. Let's see how heated it can get. I imagine a lot less heated. So.
Hey, did you know that the 25 is a superior number? Why? Because it has more syllables.
Okay. Anyway, I'm glad that I have...
Brendan?
No, all my opinions are on uncontroversial topics. There we go. That's the way to roll through life. Not uncontroversial opinions, but opinions on uncontroversial topics. Anyway, you got the €1 and the €2. So that is their system. So pretty similar to Britain. So also, we only showed the obverse of all of these coins. You may have noticed where's the reverse, where's the other side of these coins. So this is interesting. If you've ever seen the state quarters, I think we briefly mentioned them. The US printed a series of quarters a few years ago, and they have 2 editions of these, where the back of each quarter would be from a different of the 50 states. So the euro has the same thing for all of their coins.
Wait, really?
Yeah, each coin...
I actually didn't know this.
Yep. Each coin has
There's not many things I don't know, Max.
Yeah. Each coin has a different reverse for a different country. So you'll have the French 5 cent will have some French thing on it, and then the German 5 cent will have some German thing on it. So but of course the coins, it's, the Eurozone. The whole point is that you can use the money in any country. So they'll still accept a German €1 in France, right? It's just that they'll be like, oh, isn't that interesting? But like, not really. It's not that interesting. It's just money. Sometimes people, it's fun to analyze these topics, but when it comes down to it, a good money system, if you think about it, is a boring money system, because that means it's uneventful, and it works.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's their coins. So let's go to their bills. We got common bills here, and the bills are the €5. Also, they're all specimen. So €5, €10, €20, €50, €100, and €200. So they go up to a larger value, and they have one more larger value bill. So I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, this is pretty interesting. So this is the first one, I think, actually, where the pound and the dollar don't do this, but the different bills have different aspect ratios. So a $5 bill, or a €5 bill, sorry, is slightly longer than the €10, which is slightly longer than the 20. I think the 20 and the 50 are the same, and then they get longer again for the 100 and the 200. I think that's pretty nice, because you sort of have that with the coins, because you have... But they're all the same width, which is good for things like vending machines, because vending machines don't have to really think like, wait, why is this one bigger than this one, right? It's just the length that changes, and I think it's pretty intuitive, because you know that this is a penny because it feels like a penny. It is smaller versus a quarter. If I put a quarter in one hand and a penny in the other hand, you'd be able to say, okay, this one's the quarter. So you can sort of do that here because they have different aspect ratios, which is pretty cool. But of course, they also say 5, 10. So it's subtle, but I just think it's
nice.
Yeah, fair.
So yeah, as you can see, whereas the pound didn't go up as high, the euro actually goes even higher. It goes up to 500, which is the next bill. So let's actually go to that one. So the 500. The reason I put the 500 in strange bills is that they printed 500s in the first series, but they didn't print 500s in the second series. But they're not defunct because you can still give someone a 500. Although I imagine they have sort of the similar thing with the 100, where it's like the American 100, where it's like, oh, our store doesn't accept. But yeah, the euro goes up to these larger values, goes up to like $500, which would be, or €500, which would be like $600. with the current exchange rate. So that's just interesting. Like, I don't know why different countries decide different cutoffs, but if you think about it, the cutoffs technically don't matter because if you wanted to pay someone $500, you just give them 5 $100 bills. You know, it's not that consequential. It's a small, subtle thing, but it's just interesting where different countries decide to draw the line. Um, but yeah, so the euro is used throughout all of Europe, and I really like the euro as it's sort of like a money of the future type thing because it's the newest, and I feel like it works pretty well. I like their different nations
But
thing.
it's also a bit of a stronger currency.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean I like that it's an international currency, which is really interesting. That the US dollar is technically an international currency, but one nation is clearly the dominant factor in the whole US dollar valuation, and that is the US. But the euro, you know, has all the different nations, and I find that really interesting because you can just, you know, get a euro in France and then take it all the way to, I don't know, Latvia maybe? Think they're in the Eurozone. Sweden definitely is. So France to Sweden. You can go all across Europe and spend the euro. Uh, I mean, although Europe is about the same space as the US is, just naturally as a single country. So I guess it's a bit less impressive, but I do think it is pretty impressive that the euro has managed to bridge the gap between all these different nations and tie them together economically. I think that's like the good thing about it. Although it has led to some problems. For instance, the Greek financial crisis ended up uh, messing with the euro because I forget exactly what it was, but there was a Kurzgesagt video, I think, that explained it pretty well. It was that all of these countries have the same currency, but they don't have the same tax policies, and that discrepancy results in errors like the Greek like crisis because you know, if one country has different tax policy but the same currency, then you might end up with unfair situations. So, you know, the solution would either be to not have the euro or to have everyone unite under one tax policy. But I can't imagine they would be particularly fond of that. People don't like generally government overreach or whatever. Also, is the fact that like Europe is very diverse. It's a ton of different nations. So there are Eastern European nations, like Southeastern European nations that don't have the same like level of economic, uh, how would you say, like development as Western European nations. That it would sort of make it difficult to write one tax policy for all these nations. But if you think about it, the U.S. is sort of like a nation of states. I mean, that's sort of how it was founded upon. But I don't know. I think the European nations are definitely more distinct than the U.S. states. They all speak different languages. So, so yeah, the euro. I think it's impressive that it managed this feat of being able to be an international currency. But there are also problems that come along with being an international currency. So yeah, it's interesting. Definitely interesting as just like an exception to the rule of one currency per nation. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have any other comments, say them now.
I don't really. It's definitely. I think it is really cool that like multiple countries use one currency.
Yeah.
I feel like it just makes sense. You know,
yeah,
like
definitely.
it's just sort of. Why do we have all of the different currencies? I feel like it just makes a lot of things a lot harder.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really interesting, especially for all these places connected by land. And also the the European Union has, I think it's called the Schengen zone or whatever, which is where you're able to just cross the border just casually, no border check, no like passport or anything. So free movement and just the same currency. The European Union is probably an episode in its own right because it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting thing.
Well, like which factor?
What do you mean, which factor?
Just
like what
every detail about the European
Everything about
so
the European
much.
Union is pretty interesting. Maybe not everything, but I feel like there are quite a few different things that are interesting about it. Particularly, as I just said, you know, the euro and the sort of free immigration they have. as well as other things. But I would need to research that to make that an episode. But yeah, but the European Union is also hurting a little bit because of Brexit. You know, Britain was leaving, and a lot of Britain never adopted the euro for one thing, so it made it easier for them to Brexit. But also, as I mentioned, the sort of free movement, the free immigration, a lot of British people had objections to this sort of Schengen free movement zone. So that is really interesting, but it's like a can of worms, and it's a topic for another time. Yeah, so that is the euro. So let's move on to other countries real fast. So there are quite a few other countries that we didn't talk about, so we are going to talk about them. All of these except for the first one. So let's make this a broader category. All of these are either something called a world reserve currency, or they are the currency of a nation that borders the U.S., or both. So yeah, so that's why they are relevant to this episode. I had to draw the line somewhere. We don't include the ruble or the rupee. So the ruble is Russian and the rupee is Indian.
Z would not be happy.
Z's not happy.
I had to draw the line somewhere. If I added those two, then I probably would have wanted to add two more. So we got six. We got six that we're going to talk about right now. So we start with the Mexican peso. So the Mexican peso, Brendan, you had one of those. You had like a currency unit like in your coin collection. So they use the symbol of a dollar and cents, although it's called the peso and not the dollar, so they just use the same symbol.
Yeah.
And so to
one
clear it
interesting
up,
thing is that the dollar sign was actually more square. It was more like a 5.
Yeah, definitely. The economists use MEX as the symbol in front, so they say MEX dollar, MEX and the dollar symbol, just to like clear up confusion. Sometimes they'll put a US in front of the US dollar, but when you use the dollar symbol without anything, it is actually assumed to be the US dollar. And so the Mexican peso is currently worth about 4.5 cents, 4.6 cents. So that's interesting. So it's worth quite a bit less just as something that also has a dollar symbol in it. So that's interesting. So their coins, they have 5 centavos, which are their cents. So 5 centavos, 10, 20, 50, and then 1 peso, 2 pesos, 5, 10, and 20. So those range from a value of 5 centavos to 20 pesos, which in US dollars is from about 23 cents to 92 cents. So that's really interesting. The 5 centavo piece is worth like a quarter of a penny, which sort of seems like crazily like a very small value to us in America. But we do have to consider that the economy of Mexico is pretty different from the economy of the US. So there are probably things that are actually closer to that value. I doubt there's anything that is literally worth 5 centavos, but same as we have the penny and nothing's really worth a penny. Mexico probably has things that are worth a bit less. So it's actually important to have these hair-splitting denominations a bit more. So then when they come to the bills, you've got the 20 peso bill. So they have both a 20 peso coin and a 20 peso bill. Then 50, 100, 200, 500, and 1,000. Now, 1,000 may feel like such a big value, but remember, the peso isn't the same in value as the dollar. So they have 20 peso bills to 1,000 peso bills, but that's worth about 92 cents to about $45.94 in the current, so about 46 cents. So yeah, that's the highest they go is the 1,000, which is quite a bit less than the 100 for us. But again, the economies are different, so you're paying for different things, so it makes sense. Yeah, I don't really know anything about the history behind the different things in these coins. It's not really a episode. I knew more about Britain and America, but because we're in the Anglosphere. What language am I currently speaking, right? So it makes sense. But
Spanish.
Yeah. What else about these? I find it interesting the like lower individual value units. Like we'll talk about this a bit in the slide after the next one. But I just find it fascinating that they do have the centavo, but when it comes to most things, you probably won't ever have to really think about centavos. So it's interesting that we have dollars and cents. Like that is blank dollars and blank cents. You always get that. But here it's just blank pesos for most instances. You know, like if something's $5.99 in America, to get that, psychological manipulation of price value, how they always do that in stores. Um, Here it would just be like having something that is 599 pesos, or something of the sort. Um, so yeah, you don't have those denominations. Although you do, but it's like, when are you gonna say use centavos? It's not a lot of money. So yeah. So that is the Mexican peso, which is our neighbor to the south. So now we move to our neighbor to the north, Canada. So Canada also has dollars, and to distinguish the Canadian dollar from the US dollar, they put a C in front of the dollar symbol, so C dollars, and the Canadian dollar is worth about 76 cents right now. I have also been to Canada. I have been to Mexico as well, but I've been to Canada. It's pretty interesting. It was one summer, because we're pretty close to Canada in Connecticut. It was during Thanksgiving.
Are we?
Well, it was dry. We drove there. It was quite a bit of a drive. We drove to New Brunswick for Thanksgiving, during Thanksgiving break. This was a while ago. And I found it interesting to spend the Canadian dollars at Tim Hortons. I loved that. Tim Hortons is very popular in Canada. It's sort of like their Dunkin' Donuts. It gets down into like Maine as well, but they don't really have it in America. It's they had the best thing there, maple syrup donuts. I really loved. So it was a donut, and then the frosting was maple syrup flavored, and I'm like, yes, Canada. And so we'd pay with the coins, because let me get into this. So the coins, they have the 5 cent, the 10 cent, the 25 cent, where are we? The 50 cent, the $1, and the $2. So that is from about a value of 3.9 US cents to about $1.50 US dollars. And so that's pretty interesting. They also have charming names. The $1 coin has a bird called a loony on it, a loon. So they call it the loony. And then the $2 coin is called the toonie, which is just a portmanteau.
That's I get it.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
I get it. That's funny.
Yeah. So at Tim Hortons, which is, like Dunkin' Donuts, it's a fast food place, we'd pay with our blue $5 bills, depending on how much we had, and then we'd also pay with like the toonies and the loonies, and we'd get our change. And it was just so interesting. Also, the pictures here are so appealing. I don't know why. If it's either the design, I really like the design, or I just like how shiny they are in these images. They are very, like, whoever took these images, they are very well polished. So yeah, so those are the coins. Then you've got the supposed monopoly money, which go from a value of 5 Canadian dollars. So you've got the $5, the $10, the $20, the $50, and the $100. And so that is, 5 to 100 Canadian. And then in American dollars, that is about $3.78 to $75.69. And yeah, so we've got on the 20 Canadian dollar bill, we have the Queen of England, which is just, referencing the fact that Canada was a former British colony, a commonwealth. It's interesting.
I just realized something kind of funny. You can say the Queen, and everyone knows exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. I imagine.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
It depends where you are, though, because if you are in a country that has a different queen, or king, probably, if you are in another nation that has a monarchy or a constitutional monarchy, it'll probably be referencing that one. But yeah. Yeah, so that's true. It's the queen. So the Canadian dollar is interesting. It's made of like it's like plastic. It's something plastic. It's like a polymer or something like that. Um, I don't know. So people find that weird instead of the like papery substance that most money is made out of. It's like it's just like plastic, which is just interesting. Also, each one is very vibrantly a different color. You've got the blue, purple, green, like red and yellowish. So that's why they get the sort of derogatory connotation that they are monopoly money, because in Monopoly that is what the money looks like. Uh, so yeah, so that's an American joke about Canadian money. Um, but yeah, so that's Canadian money, and you may notice that there is a conspicuously photo edited, like it's a coin that is missing. Yeah, I sort of Stalined it out of this picture. You know that picture of Stalin
Yeah, oh
where,
my god.
yeah, so I sort of got rid of that coin because that coin has been discontinued. It was the Canadian penny, and we are going to talk about that later. But yeah, so the next one we got is the Japanese yen. So the Japanese yen, pretty interesting unit because it's worth about 1 cent. It's worth 0.94 cents. So it's sort of like, it's not like their dollar, it's like their cents. It's that they don't have a super unit. It's just this unit, which is sort of like what I was saying about the peso. You don't have to say $5.99. You can just say 599 yen. And so
Yeah.
so the coins they start with the 1 yen coin, which is like our penny, then 5 yen, 10 yen, which is fun to say, but it might not rhyme in Japanese. Then 50 yen, 100 yen, which is like a $1 piece, and then a 500 yen, which is pretty interesting. They have a $5 coin essentially. The value goes from about, I think I messed this up. I wrote 9.4 cents. I think that's actually supposed to be 0.94 cents. Yeah. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the
um,
yen is not worth more than
yeah.
a
So yeah, they
dollar.
have from 0.94 cents to 472-cent coins. So yes, that is a correction. 0.94 cents, not 9.4 cents. Um, so that was just an error. But yeah, so then they have the bills. And the bills, they've got the 1,000 yen, the 2,000 yen, the 5,000 yen, and the 10,000 yen. So that goes from a value of about $9.43 to a value of $94.31, which is pretty interesting. I would say out of anything on this list, well, the Swiss franc actually has similarly large denominations of coins, but I find it interesting that they have such large coins because even the euro and the British pound, they only go up to $2 coins, or £2, €2, Canadian $2. Um, Coins just don't tend to get that big, which is interesting. I mean, as I said earlier, you don't want to carry $100 around with you in a tiny little token. So something else pretty
Yeah.
interesting about the Japanese yen coins is that the 5 and the 50 just have casual holes punched out of them, and they're toroidal, in topology. They have a hole in the middle like a donut, so that's interesting. Yeah. I find that just interesting. I mean, it makes it distinctive as a coin, It makes it easier to recognize, which is pretty cool. And then, yeah, that's kind of it about the yen. If you are an anime fan, probably know about the yen already. So, but yeah, the yen is used in a lot of world trade, actually. It's like the third most common or something like that. And so it's just so interesting. Japan's a pretty interesting place. Um, but yeah, so that's the yen. Just think of the yen like cents, essentially. They're pretty much just equivalent to a cent. So if something's like 1,000 yen, you think 1,000 cents, that's about $10 if you're watching like an anime or something like that. Quick mental conversion. So yeah, that's the yen. So let's move on. The
My
next
cat
one,
has come to make a guest appearance.
yes,
Oh, my cat no longer wishes to make a guest appearance.
yep, he figured out what show he was on. So we've got the Chinese yuan.
I've seen what happens to cats on live streams.
Uh-oh. So the yuan, kind of hard for me to say, yuan, but so 1 yuan is worth about 15 cents, and so yeah, you've also got the yuan is subdivided into 10 jiao, and then the jiao is divided into 10 fen, and I am sorry if I'm not pronouncing these correctly.
So it'd be Yuan, Jiao, Fan. I think Fan.
Yeah. I'm just going by the English spelling.
Yeah.
So I think the Chinese yuan has actually gone through a lot of like inflation recently, which is, a bit of a problem generally. So a lot
Just
of these,
a little bit.
A lot of these lower value coins have sort of gone out of fashion because they are now not worth as much. So you've got the 1 fen, 2 fen, 5 fen, and then 1 jiao, which is like 10 fen, and then 5 jiao, which is 50 fen, and then the 1 yuan, which is 100 fen, or 10 jiao. So those coins range in value from 0.15 cents to actual 15 cents, which is pretty bad, just about basically inflation and stuff, because just a penny is just so useless. And then just think of like a sixth of a penny. That's what the 1 fen piece would be worth, a sixth of a penny. So the inflation problem, definitely a problem. They either have to, I don't know, wrangle it back under control, but you tend not to have deflation. You never really, you can stop inflation or very nearly stop inflation, get it to be very low, but you can never really quite get it to deflation. So yeah, so they might have to discontinue some of these coins. But yeah, so then you go to the 1 yuan bill. They have both a coin and a bill. Then 5 yuan, 10 yuan, 20, 50, 100. These all have pictures of Chairman Mao on them. Mao being in like the 50s, he was like the leader of the revolution, or maybe he took control afterwards.
That rat bastard.
I do not know.
That slimy, disgusting. He's terrible. Don't like him.
What are you talking about?
He's talking about Chairman Mao. Chairman Mao. I do not know the history as well. I know in sort of China,
he killed like 25 million people.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, that's bad. I will condemn anyone that kills him.
Not as bad as Frank.
Even if it gets me banned in China, because they have him on his money, so I guess they like him enough.
Hey, look at that! They have him on both the 100 and the 50.
No, he's on all of them. Yeah, he's on all of them. I do not know. China's a big geopolitical controversy right now, but this is just about their money. So yeah, so I think it was 1949 or 1959. China had like a communist uprising or just takeover, civil war, where Mao basically took control of China, and the former government was basically relegated to the island of Taiwan, and that is why Taiwan and China is an issue now, because Taiwan is the old government of China, or the descendants of the old government, whereas China is the new government of China. So that was a big civil war. That was a big conflict during the Cold War. But yeah, so the bills go in value from 15 cents to about $14.61, about $15. They gotta fix this. They gotta fix this problem. This inflation problem. They've either got to make some more bills with 200 and 500 yuan bills with Mao on them, or they've got to get the inflation under control. But yeah, this is just not a good look. Not a good look, because it's like the highest value. It would be like our highest value bill being a $20 bill, but not even, because 20 is worth 20, not 15. So yeah, this is a bit of a problem, but it is, a major world currency. So yeah, so that's the Chinese yuan. I don't have much else to say about that one. All right, so next let's go to the Swiss franc. So the Swiss franc is the money of Switzerland. And Switzerland has a really big banking industry. It's a big, like, money nation. So that's why Switzerland, you might think, like, what's the relevance of Switzerland? When it comes to money, it is definitely relevant. So they have the franc, which is worth $1.09 right now. That's the conversion rate. So sort of like these like European currencies, and I'm including the dollar because it's sort of a what do you call it? Successor to a European, it's descendant of a European currency, whatever. They're all worth about $1, interestingly. Um, I guess Europeans just like that value. I don't know. But so the Swiss franc is divided into 100 centimos or rappen. So centimos is like the French or Italian word for it, and then the rappen is the German word for it, because Swiss has 4 official languages, being German, French, Italian, and Romanesque. And so yeah, centimo, I don't think they're exactly the same in French and Italian, but they're pretty similar. At least more similar than rappen is. So you start with 5. You got the 5 rappen up to the 5 franc. So that goes from about 5.5, 5.4 cents up until $5.45. And that's just the current. I mean, it changes daily pretty much. So so that's a pretty big coin. I mean, $5.50 just in a coin. That's your 5 franc coin. Look at that big coin. I like it. I like its design. It's got the big old Swiss plus sign on it. So yeah. So then you switch over to the bills, and they start with the 10 franc bill. They go up to the 20, 50, 100, 200, and 1,000. They just casually have a $1,000 bill. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I
That goes
like
up
it.
from a value of $10.90 to about $1,000, $1,090. So yeah, they also do the sort of euro thing where the money is of different lengths, right? And so yeah, it's interesting. Switzerland, uh, famously neutral, right? They do not join uh, unions. I'm getting tired here. They do not join unions, so they have not joined the European Union. So they are a sort of awkward enclave within the European Union. But it also means that they keep their currency, which is the franc. Um, I don't know why so much like Switzerland's such an odd country, I would say. It's very peculiar, like it's such an anomaly. But yeah, a lot of banking is done there, so I guess $1,000 are useful, or 1,000 francs,
Yeah.
are
I
useful.
guess it would be the same. It would be the same, or could have a similar use to our big notes
Yeah,
back in the day.
yeah, exactly. Um, I feel like it's always, for some reason, when you hear of like something shady, like some really rich person, it's like,
Oh, it's
oh,
always in
it's their
Switzerland.
Swiss bank account, right? Like
Yeah,
the
it's
concept of a
always in
Swiss bank
Switzerland.
account. I think it's, I
Mm.
don't know, I imagine it's some sort of tax thing it's probably good for taxes to have a Swiss bank account, but I don't know what that sounds like. But
Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that.
okay. But yeah, so you got the Swiss franc. They've got large denominations of coins and large denominations of bills. So yeah, Switzerland likes money. So yeah, now we
Oh,
move,
I like money.
now we move to the final of the reserve currencies. All of these except the peso were reserve currencies. So the Canadian dollar was both. I'm getting some feedback here.
It's on Seb.
Is that me?
Yeah.
I think
Is
your
my-
mic came half unplugged.
Oh, sorry.
It's just a little.
No problem. All right. So yeah, let's go Australian dollar. So the Australian dollar,
Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.
kind of similar to the Canadian dollar. It is worth 72 cents, so they're worth about the same in value. And so you've got 5. So the coins, you've got 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents, 50 cents, $1, and $2. So they've got a really similar system to the Canadians.
Or is the buzzing fixed?
Yeah, it's fixed. I don't hear anything. So the value of these coins goes from about 3.6 cents to $1.44. Um, so yeah, I don't know why, but they really have similar money systems, Canada and Australia. But yeah, so so those are the coins. And note, the one difference between the Canadian system and the Australian system is that Canada does the quarter, but Australia does the 20-cent piece. I just find it like, how do they decide this, right? I guess it might be the American influence that got Canada to do the quarter, but who knows? So the bills go from they got a $5 bill, $10, 20, 50, and 100. So that goes in value from about $3.61 to $72.17. Yeah, not much to say about this one. I don't really know about the history of these coins either, like Australian history. They do have like animals on all the coin, maybe not all the coins. A lot of the coins. They have like the kangaroo on the $1, just so that you know it's Australian. Um, because of course, right? Right? It's the kangaroo.
I mean, yeah.
Where's the dingo? Where's the dingo on these? I don't see any dingoes on this money.
Dingo.
Where's the dingo? Anyway.
The dingo ain't my baby.
The dingoes. So
professionals have standards.
That was so bad.
I know.
Professionals have standards.
That's all the other world's currencies. Now we're going to move into some just peculiar things. So some oddities. Oddities. We're going to talk about some weird things that happen with money on occasion. So not any money system in particular. Well, one money system in particular.
Except for a one money system in particular.
Well, I just mean we're sort of generally talking here for most of these. Just peculiar things that you might not know, just little odd facts, right? So let us start with hyperinflation. So hyperinflation, I know, it's just funny to look at.
Zach has one of these.
He does?
Oh he has a 100
like
trillion
$50.
Yeah, hold on, I want to see the conversion. Or wait, do we have it on screen?
It's
gone. The conversion leveled out actually. This is all right. So this is Zimbabwe.
Zach's a trillionaire.
Zimbabwe had an inflation problem around 2008, so it's a very contemporary example. That's why you've probably heard of it. Like people always reference Zimbabwe. I'm a trillionaire in Zimbabwe. Blah blah blah. Various jokes of the sorts, but hyperinflation has happened many times before. This is just maybe not even the most. I think it happened in Venezuela even more recently, but this is just an example that people like to talk about a lot because it's fairly recent. But so Zimbabwe, they sort of got bailed out. I think they got a fixed exchange rate with the U.S. of like $1 is worth like 360 360 Zimbabwe dollars. So that is a lot better than like this 100 trillion dollar note was worth like barely anything, right? In Zimbabwe at the peak of this inflation crisis. So they had to be bailed out essentially, and they're now sort of like struggling. I don't know what caused the hyperinflation, but another example of hyperinflation, which is Weimar, I don't know, Germany in like the
Weimar
1920s, Weimar. So this was after World War I, where the Treaty of Versailles was it put a lot of requirements, and it wasn't very good for Germany. They lost the First World War, and so the Treaty of Versailles it wasn't good for them. It asked them to pay back, for instance, all the damage they did to France, and they couldn't have a military, various things like that, and so they were struggling. And to pay back their war damage, on France, they started just printing money. So they just printed more money because they're like, what are we going to do? We don't have enough money. So they just started printing money. And the result of that was that people would carry around cash in wheelbarrows to pay for like a trip to the grocery store. People would wallpaper their houses with the money, so it just was not good. Um, but yeah, and this hyperinflation, among other things, is sort of what led to World War II, the whole Treaty of Versailles. A lot of Germans were not happy about the Treaty of Versailles, and that led to World War II. I mean, if you're, you got to carry a whole wheelbarrow of cash to the grocery store, it's not the best situation. So it resulted in World War II. So, yes, that's hyperinflation. I put this picture of the $100 trillion on the Gravity Max social media just because I find it so fascinating to look at. It's well designed too, right? As far as bills go, right? I mean, look at that font they picked for the $100 trillion. I want that font. I like that font. Um, I don't know where I can download Zimbabwean money font, but if there's a link, please feel free to leave it in the comments below. um, but yeah, so that's hyperinflation. Let's see. Oh, we got more chat. So let's see. Oh, we have Stop It. We missed Stop It.
He's in chat.
So Stop It
Who's
says,
Stop It?
only primitive beings use paper money. All nations
He's above
convert
us.
to Starbucks stars as their common
That's the
currency.
reference from the other stream. From when I was telling the story about the high school. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. And then he says, actually Mao killed 78 million people. That is a lot.
No,
yeah.
he did not. No, he did not. That is fake.
I know he's in the top 3 when it comes to people that have killed a lot of people. And then we've got Ryan Rudin. You should compare World of Warcraft gold to the Bolivar. Oh yeah, I remember they had a big inflation thing, right, with the World of Warcraft gold. And then yeah, the Bolivar I believe is the Venezuelan currency. So yeah, recently
it is. Yeah.
Venezuela.
Oh no! Wait, yeah, I know. Do you know what he's talking about specifically?
No.
With okay, World of Warcraft gold became more valuable than actual Venezuelan currency. So what people would do to support their families is grind on World of Warcraft.
No.
And yes, it's real. Look it up. And it is. They literally, that is how they would feed their family, by grinding on WoW. And, like, that must have been the most stressful games. Like, they must have been so tense. But that's, like, you can look it up. Literally, I think it might not still be going on, but there was a period of time for a couple of months where literal just World of Warcraft gold, which you can buy and sell, became more valuable than the Venezuelan Bolivar.
That's interesting.
So that's what they were doing to save their families, because like they're eating rats and stuff. You know?
Yeah, Bolivar is the name of like a historical figure in Venezuela, sort of like our founding fathers when Venezuela went through their like revolution for independence from like Spain, I believe. It was like Bolivar was involved. Of course, that's not like my area of expertise. But that's why it's called the Bolivar. So it's sort of like saying the Franklins, although please do not ignite that debate again. Or the Grants. I'm just saying the Franklins is a common
Let me
phrase.
interject for just a moment. Well, yeah, actually, we settled it.
Grant is better. He is better, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I did not know he was that chat of a president. But any president who served in the military and who, destroys or hurts the KKK, that's a good president in my book.
Yeah.
So, Grant gets the honorary 128-second seal of approval.
Nice.
Are you saying you don't support our Constitution?
So anyway,
why do I hear boss music?
Why do I hear boss music?
We just completely switched sides.
Yeah. So anyway, oh yes, Ryan Rudin says correct. So you are correct.
Yeah.
So yes, that's really so interesting. Hyperinflation is a big problem. It can be caused by printing money, but I don't think it always is caused by printing money. Sometimes it's just like there's a general crisis where just people lose faith in the currency. Like say there's a huge food shortage, right? So it's not like like anything happened with the money, right? But there's a huge food shortage or oil shortage, or say a shortage of a ton of different things at the same time. If food was worth, like, say, if a gallon of milk was worth $2 yesterday, and today you go to the store and it's worth like $10, you're going to start freaking out and trying to buy a ton of milk, and that can result in a hyperinflation crisis. So it's sort of like the opposite problem.
I think all nations should use milk as their currency. All right?
Yeah, calm down, Michael.
Listen. People always complain about the 1%. That's not going to happen with milk. We have the 2%.
Oh my god, I saw the joke coming like it was a freaking bullet through water.
Oh my god.
You don't like the 2% half milk. You don't like that whole milk. Who wants milk with holes in it? I don't know, but people are always complaining.
Okay.
I'm going to put a hole through your cerebellum.
My chicken is done microwaving. I'm going to go get it.
Yeah,
I'm going to go
grab
my
your
dinner
chicken.
on stream, by the way.
Chicken grabber.
So that's hyperinflation. Let's move on to the next slide. So we've got dead pennies. Dead pennies. So this is the whole penny argument. This right here is the Canadian 1-cent piece. And although I approve of getting rid of pennies because they aren't particularly valuable, I do sort of feel bad because look at that design. I like that design. I don't know why. Like the leaf, the maple leaf.
You're like a child.
It's such a pretty penny.
Like chicken tenders.
I like it.
Yeah, but then Australia, which is the flag on the left, they got rid of their 1-cent and their 2-cent piece. And New Zealand, the flag on the right, although they look similar, got rid of their 1s, 2s, and 5-cent pieces. So many have argued that this is what we should do in America as well. And I see their point. So the penny costs like $1, or sorry, 1.8 cents. This stream is getting long.
He's tweaking. It's been almost, it's 2.5 hours.
Yeah, 1 penny costs 1.8 cents to produce, which, you know, isn't ideal. So what this means is that if you were to gather a ton of pennies together, and I'm talking US pennies, if you were to just get a ton of pennies, then melt them down in like a forge or something and sell the zinc and copper to the highest bidder as scrap metal, you get more than the value of pennies that you just melted down.
That is not including the energy and the amount of money that would cost.
Well, it's interesting. This sort of cost ratio, they eclipsed each other in 2006. So in 2006, it became profitable for the first time to actually melt down pennies. So a ton of people were like, oh, sick, I'm going to melt down pennies and sell it off for scrap, right? And so promptly the US government's like, oh, shoot, don't do that. That is now illegal to do. You cannot melt down pennies, which I think is very short-sighted.
Stop! You are violating the law.
I think that is very short-sighted policy
the
making.
consequences.
And here's the thing. It wasn't illegal before to, say, destroy currency because no one would be dumb enough to do so. You know what I mean? Because if you destroy a $100 bill or a $50 bill, you're not gaining anything. You're just losing $150, right? So, so the same thing applied to the penny until 2006. And if the government was smart, right, they would say, oh, wait, revolutionary. They would say, hey, our citizens are doing our job for us. The penny has outlived its usefulness. So as the government, what we should be doing is melting them down and taking them out of circulation. But the people are doing it for us, so we don't even have to spend the money ourselves, right? That would be the sane, rational thing to do. But instead, they were like, nah, we got to make it illegal now. They can't melt the pennies. How dare they? So pennies are still a thing and probably will be for a very long time. I can't imagine, because it's not a hot button political issue, so it really doesn't get press. You know what I mean? There's a lot of
pressed like a penny, pressed like a coin.
They're coins, not buttons.
I feel like there are at least a dozen. I feel like there are at least a dozen political issues that pretty much everyone agrees on. They're just not too important. Like everyone agrees, but they don't actually care that much. And so the result is that it never gets done. But Canada did it, Australia did it, New Zealand did it. So good on them. They got rid of their pennies, and we probably should too. So how do they like deal with things now? Like, what if you go into a store in Canada and it says $5.99? What are you gonna do?
It just gets rounded off.
Exactly. So you
gets rounded off to the 5.
Yeah. They round it off to the 5, or in New Zealand they round it off to the 10. So a whole decimal place is just out. And so the thing is, they could still. You don't have to round it. Say you're using a credit card, which most people do for most transactions at this point. Like credit cards are very common. If you swipe your credit card, that'll be $5.99. But if you're paying in cash, you'll just round up or round down. Which half of the time you'll lose up to 2 cents, and half of the time you'll gain up to 2 cents. I don't think anyone is really fretting over losing or gaining 2 cents on like a $20 transaction. So it's
you owe me like $1. You'll have to kill me for it.
Exactly. It's just so dumb. Pennies should be gone. Penny. They are no longer useful. So I am on the side of we should probably get rid of the penny.
Probably.
I also am there.
Yep. So yeah, that's the penny. Also, notice how similar New Zealand and Australia's flags are.
Yes.
I just feel like I just had to point that out. They both have the Southern Cross constellation. And I'm
all right, I got to point something out. You know what? You go to a gas station and the gas price is like $2.49 and 9/10 cents.
Yep.
Why?
So
why?
Yeah, I can tell you why. It used to
be.
No,
when they say $2.49 and. Oh wait, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I can actually tell you. I can tell you why. So.
Yeah. Tell us why. Tell us why.
So back in the.
Tell us why, Max.
Back in the olden days, before.
Why don't you tell us why? Why is that?
I'm telling you.
I'm curious.
Back in the olden days, before it's
over to you, Max.
Why does it say 9/10 though?
Okay, I'm telling you why.
The gas station.
Yeah, can you tell me why? I've been waiting.
Okay, if you quiet down,
I don't have all day, Max.
All right. Yeah,
do not
come on,
interrupt my story, okay?
All right.
So before inflation,
all right, go ahead.
When are you gonna start?
What is inflation?
I don't know which is more annoying.
All right, let's let him go. Let's let him breathe.
Okay. So gas was worth in the vicinity of like a dozen cents per gallon, right? So say that that gasoline costs 16 cents. They would say, oh, it's 16 and 9/10 cents, so that they could get that extra 9/10 for each gallon. Sort of like how today we have $5.99, although they don't actually expect you to pull out 99 cents, right? So because usually
big brain move.
Big brain move, yeah. So
there you go.
They did have half pennies, but they didn't actually have like 10th pennies, right?
9 pennies.
So they didn't have that. But what they would do is say you would get 20 gallons. 16.9 cents times 20 would round off to whatever number that is, and then you'd pay that amount. And if you only had a 16 cent per gallon thing of gas, that would be worth far less by the time you multiply it by the 20 gallons. So it's essentially a holdover from when the 9/10 mattered. And the 9/10 still is probably a profit margin if you think about it, but they just round it off. So if you get 10 gallons of gas for $2.49 and 9/10, the result is that it'll cost $24.99. Whereas if they didn't have the 9/10, it would only cost $24.90, which, again, not much of a difference, but say you bought 10 gallons of gas in like 1875, right? And it was worth 16.9 cents. That gasoline would be worth $1.69 instead of $1.60, which would be more of a difference for the gasoline company. So they keep the 9/10 just because they can. They're like, yeah, 9/10. No one really cares. No one really notices the 9/10, but it's there. So yeah, that's a good question. That's an interesting thing. Yeah, that's it about the penny. I don't have much more to say about this.
I would rather pay the extra 1/10 of a cent and just have them take it off their sign. It pisses me off so much. I
Just
don't know
have
why.
them take it off
It
their
annoys
sign.
me. It
Yeah.
annoys me so much.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Here is $1,000. This is more money than you will make from that 1/10 of a cent. Please round it up so you make more money.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so as you can see, people who don't think that the rounding can work, we already do rounding. You know, we already round when we're paying for gasoline, they round to the nearest cent, even though it's technically a cost in tenths of a cent. But yeah, so let's move on to the next topic. We've got other US dollar users. So I said the US dollar is not an international currency, but it kind of is because it is used in other nations. But it's not similar really to the euro. Like nothing can compare in internationality to the euro. Um, so the euro, so yeah, let's look at this map. In blue is the eurozone, and I think this is actually an old map. So in blue are nations that use the euro. In purple are other nations that use the euro. So a ton of African nations just use the euro instead of minting and producing their own money because one, it's more reliable, so they won't have a Zimbabwe inflation problem. It just makes things simpler, right? And so a similar thing has occurred with the US dollar. A ton of like other nations just use the US dollar. But then if you look at, so the US dollar is in green and then the US dollar users are in light green. So all of our territories use US dollars as well as a few other nations like Panama, it looks like. Um, I do not know what that other country is in South America on the western side. I usually know this. That's
Which one?
Ecuador. Um, Ecuador. It's the
Yeah.
one in light green. Ecuador, because the Galapagos is
Yeah.
highlighted. So in the Galapagos, they use the US dollar. And the Galapagos is an island owned by Ecuador. But anyway, so then the last places
What random island in
Yeah.
between Antarctica, Australia, and Africa?
Antarctica.
That tiny blue dot in the middle of nowhere.
I don't know. It's probably something like a French territory or something like that.
It would be the French.
It would be the
France
French.
has quite a bit of those. If you notice the blue in South Africa is French Guyana, which is British, obviously. It's French. So anyway, so we've got the other nations you might notice that are in like a dark gold color. So those nations don't exactly use the US dollar. Instead, they have a fixed exchange rate, which is really fascinating. So they don't use the US dollar. But if you look at Saudi Arabia, for instance, their currency like will and forever will be, as long as policy doesn't change, equivalent to like 33 cents ish, right? I don't know the exact value. Say it's 33 cents. Or no, I think it's 27 cents. So 1 unit of Saudi Arabian currency will be worth 27 cents. And you know, most exchange rates vary and stuff. But it's really interesting that they have a fixed exchange rate because what that means is that technically the Saudi Arabian currency could just be considered a 27-cent denomination of US currency. So it's our 27-cent coin, right? But that's just fascinating. I think it's El Salvador also has a fixed exchange rate and a few other nations. Again, it makes things simpler if there's Zimbabwe did that recently, so this map isn't updated enough. But you know, after their inflation crisis, Zimbabwe's like, what do we do now? So they're like, US, can you help us with a fixed exchange rate? And we're like, sure thing, Zimbabwe. And so yeah, I imagine it benefits us in other ways too, just because I don't know why. Bigger economy, I guess, helps give the US dollar more security. I don't know. But yeah, so the US dollar is technically an international currency because it's used in other countries and it has fixed exchange rates with other countries. So that's just a fascinating thing. Yeah, that's all. So then we got one more slide. Unless you guys have anything else to say on this one.
All good.
All right.
I do not.
Okay. Cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you might hear online fanatics being like, crypto, you got to get the crypto. People like to talk about cryptocurrency a lot. It's an interesting concept in just like the connotations that we have with cryptocurrency are for some reason like strange. Like it's weird. It's an interesting thing. So here we have the most famous one, Bitcoin, and then the offshoot variant called Litecoin, and then a joke one. I'm pretty sure it's a joke called Dogecoin.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. It's worth like like 1/100th of a cent, one Dogecoin.
Actually,
the internet dog meme Doge. So that is the Dogecoin. What was I saying? But yeah, cryptocurrency is all online, which is just fascinating. So there are no denominations of currency. You don't have a 5 Bitcoin bill that's not a thing. You just have an exact amount in what they call your wallet. It's like a crypto wallet, and it's really just, I don't know the technicalities, but I know it's like on. I don't really know. I don't know enough about cryptocurrency other than that it is just, online currency. And so you can exchange it with other people. It's called peer-to-peer as well because you can just basically wire them some amount of bitcoins to either do a task or send you a thing, just like how normal money is used. But yeah, I've heard conflicting things about cryptocurrency. Sebastian, I think you know a bit more about it, right?
Yeah.
So if you have something that you'd like to explain about
the
it.
Dogecoin is worth 0.02 of a cent. And the market cap is 352 million.
Yeah. So, how cryptocurrency kind of works, like what a Bitcoin actually is the best way to think of it is kind of like an investment. So everything kind of becomes sort of like stocks is the best way to think of it, because say there's a stock or say a company, you invest in them through buying stocks. Everything becomes an investment. And because everything is an investment, because one Bitcoin, like say I want to buy Maki here, who sits on my keyboard or on my monitor. I want to buy Maki, right? He's $10, but I pay for it in Bitcoin, So I pay like 0.0001 Bitcoin or whatever it is, and I get Maki. It's like I'm paying a 100% investment in Maki. But just because of that, and because there might be other Makis that are being sold, the market value changes. And because, like, if you look at the stock market is very volatile. It can be subject to change. Bitcoin is even more so because everything is just an investment. There's no center thing. Like, kind of, you kind of have, like a gallon of milk is however much money. Like that's a marker. A gallon of milk, gallon of gas, bucket of bread, whatever. That's like the marker, but there's no real marker in Bitcoin, which is why it goes all over the place. And it dropped. I don't know why it dropped, but if you look at the charts on September 3rd, 10 days ago, it dropped from 11,600 to 10,000, where it is now. So it just dropped by $1,600. I can't think of anything that happened on September. That's my parents' anniversary, but I don't think that had anything to do. It's their 20th anniversary. They paid for their entire expensive French dinner in Bitcoin, and it crashed the market.
It's because no one spends Bitcoin. So the fact that someone spent a Bitcoin, people realized because they got a notification that like, oh, there's activity in Bitcoin. People are like, that's still a thing.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. People like the Bitcoin because it's sort of, it's not part of the U.S. bank. It's separated from governments. So a lot of like, I guess those types of people like it. I mean, I don't know. There's a type, right? There's definitely a Bitcoin.
What do you mean by those types?
There's a crypto type, a personality type, like that people are usually like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not necessarily anti-government. I guess you could say a little bit like that, but some people are just investors. But some people do actually pay with Bitcoin. It's just that both people have to be willing to accept the Bitcoin, so you can theoretically pay for something in Bitcoins, just like how I could pay for something with, 10 plastic water bottles, right? It just comes back to trade. Money is a tool. It's a unit of trade. I find crypto interesting because cryptocurrency is sort of like the future of currency because a lot of financial transactions occur
bold.
online. That is bold, but I don't mean Bitcoin itself necessarily. I mean the US dollar as cryptocurrency. Because think about it. How often do you handle real money? Say you have a credit card, right? You go to all the big like chain stores, you just swipe the card and you're on your way. Or debit card even. So that's sort of what you have. You know, lots of electronic money. Theoretically, at this point in time, a person could like go through their whole life and not actually interact with cash at all. They would just have to forego, say, vending machines, parking meters, and like a few small restaurants, right? Like it's becoming easier and easier.
I guess so, actually.
Yeah, it's becoming easier and easier to have a fully electronic life with money. So that's sort of what I mean by cryptocurrency becoming the future, because the current currencies will become cryptocurrencies because they will just be online. But yeah, so that's that. That's pretty much it. That's our last slide. I'll go to the final thoughts slide unless you guys have anything else you'd like to add here.
I need you. I will show you how if you don't know how after the stream. But I need you to download this VOD and send it to me on Google Drive because I want to turn.
Bring in the part about you calling me a KKK sympathizer.
I won't. But I just want
because that's false.
Wait, what do you want to do with the VOD?
I want the debate because I think it was funny.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I'm
funny as well.
I'm gonna edit the debate.
Thank you.
And see if
I wanted to put okay, you can do that though.
Yeah.
Okay. Either by adding subtitles while we say things that are like this is not true, or by which I'll probably do, or by cutting things out, make it okay to put online, and then
I can send you the VOD. It takes a few hours after the stream for the VOD to materialize. But anyway, let's go to the final thoughts.
I have some magic cards if you want to see them.
Let me get those magic cards here.
Final thoughts? What did we learn today? Sebastian likes Nazis.
So, So let's read these magic cards here. We've got John Adams, Father of Unity. So, legendary creature, founding father, John Adams, Father of Unity, gets +3/+3. There is at least one other founding father on the battlefield under your control.
That's kind of overpowered.
Give +1/+2 to another founding father you control. Then the quote, defeat appears to me preferable to total inaction. And then we've got...
I wanted to make that until end of turn. That buff, that one planes buff, that should be until end of turn. Otherwise, then he would be so OP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, Sam Adams, Father of Liberty, legendary creature founding father. When Sam Adams, Father of Liberty, enters the battlefield, search your library for a card named Boston Tea Party and put it in your hand. This card gains protection from red until end of turn. The Constitution shall never be construed. Samuel Adams. That's interesting. They're cousins, They're cousins. Sam Adams.
They're second cousins.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, so final thoughts. That was a fun episode in more ways than one, I guess. So I guess
it was a fun episode.
I guess we did have a fun topic today. Money. Money's interesting, right? So I hope you guys learned something about money, about different currency systems.
About Schmoney.
I hope you learned
about
baby. Ulysses.
Max,
can we
hear you?
What?
Can we hear you say Schmoney for us?
Schmoney.
Schmoney.
There you go.
Sebastian, can you define Schmoney?
Schmoney is money you get, but it's a little more suave. Schmoney.
Right.
Like you go down to your local library, and there's a librarian outside of there, and she's struggling to get books into the library. You're like, I'll help you, ma'am. I'll help you. So you grab some of her books. She's like, thank you. What a kind young man. And you shank her 7 times in the spleen, and you rob her, and you take the money out of her wallet. That money you just got, that's Schmoney. Thank you for watching the Gravity Max live stream.
Support shanking librarians trying to put books away.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad that at least I never say strange things on this live stream. It's always either Sebastian or one of our guests. So That is my protection.
Wait until conspiracies episode. We got a fantastic guest for you guys.
Conspiracy episode. Oh my god!
I thought you guys already did that one.
No, we didn't do it yet. We're trying to.
But
work
we
it
have
out
booked the best guest possible.
Oh yeah,
you really have.
What I'm trying to figure out is how far exactly we should go with the conspiracies episode, because they are conspiracies. Also,
we go full.
A lot of large, social media companies are in the habit of banning people for promoting conspiracy theories. So it's like we are just talking about them in hypothetical.
We'll need the second disclaimer. We will craft. We will forge the second disclaimer
in the hearts of
a dying star.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you, Brendan, for being our guest today.
Always.
Thank you, Sebastian, for being my co-host as always. And thank you. Oh, we've got more chat. So Daikaiju Productions says the Bitcoin hype is a lot of right libertarians. Yeah, that's I guess sort of what I meant.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah. So when I was saying the Bitcoin hype before. But yeah, so thank you guys all for watching. Daikaiju Productions, Ryan Rudine, Stop It, Scandinavy, Fresh Black, Jim McCarthy, and Juicy, or maybe not Juicy, I don't know the legality.
No, it is Juicy.
It's Juicy.
But thank you guys all for watching.
Did you just call a 12-year-old Juicy?
Huh? You just called a 12-year-old Juicy.
Well, that's the name.
See, this is why you support idiots like Benjamin Franklin, because he's out there doing